Audible.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to D&D&D&D&D, campaign number 1, Under Locks and Keys. When we last left off, the party successfully retrieved the Atlantean-crafted forge-cast pistol made in honor of the god Vulcan from the Dark Elf city of Ostiliant. Buried deep in the tunnels, the Boomergangers were hoping to simply bomb the tunnels out and let the flood of the River Airwash carry the pistol to them, even if it meant potentially destroying the Wood Elves and Dark Elves both in the process. Stopping their plans, however, leaving the lieutenants to go free, the party made their way back to the city, regrouped with their allies in the rebellion, and started making their way back to the surface. Their rebel allies, however, the Bees Without Hives, have indicated that they will be joining in the hunt for these artifacts. So the party now has not one, but 2 rivals on this little treasure hunt. But,
That we know of.
yeah, that you know of. But, as you guys make your way back to the surface, to the Forest of Sherwood, the Bees Without Hives, the Boomergangers, and even the door itself are a problem for another day, as you all have agreed that you could use some rest. And with that in mind, you guys make your way back to Sherwood with intent to settle down for a time. And just try to relax and enjoy yourselves a little bit before getting back to the adventure. With that said, given that the nature of this being downtime, we're going to kind of jump around between characters a little bit here. But so basically, this isn't going to be a play-by-play, but everyone just kind of bear with me. As you return to... Oh, real quick, before I get into it, Austin, you are on the Roll20 for music, right? I forgot to ask before we started.
Yeah, we're good.
Okay. As you guys make your way back to the surface of Sherwood Forest, Avaben guiding you through the Underdark tunnels, which, as promised, feel like you're taking a completely different path than it did the first time. And none of you are confident that you could find your way out on your own, even with some of your decent navigation or survival instincts. As promised, only a dark elf or a creature of the Underdark can reliably navigate it. When you guys return to Sherwood with all of the rescued prisoners in tow, there is a celebration waiting for you. The pixies and sprites of the
There better
Sherwood
be some
Forest...
apologies waiting too.
The pixies and sprites and fair folk of the forest have put together a celebration. Interestingly, you all notice that as again, there is a bonded pair of elf and pixie for every elf in Sherwood. You notice that the celebration is partially in part to you all's rescue, which does make you question that they had no way of knowing if he'd be coming back, and even if he did, when. But it seems like the party was planned and organized to be right on schedule for his return. And as you all mingle and enjoy the festivities, indeed, Avaben, you all keeps his word and starts immediately darting around and making sure that everyone understands what this celebration is really for. A story that the Pixies do not dispute, and make sure that everyone from Quacko Village to the capital is aware of just what you, the oh-so-loathed Dark Elf, had done for the people of Sherwood. That had it not been for you and your friends, River Airwash would have been drained completely to secure the Forge Cast pistol, which would have destroyed the way of life for the Wood Elves and the Dark Elves both. And even more so, that the Dark Elves had no intention of actually helping the Boomergangers, and had turned on those who had decided to do so. While a reputation built on misunderstandings and bigotry does not improve overnight, you can't help but notice that there is something in the air of an almost sheepish respect. And as you guys settle and enjoy yourselves, the elves happily put you up for a few days as you all see to personal matters. And you all settle in to see to said personal matters. Greylog, you and Asari make your way north to head to the Bretonnian lands, to the capital where Asari's family resides, not too far away from Sherwood. Avaben, you're just happy to be home and reunite with your friends and family, and enjoy yourself to the best of your ability. Again, while the weight of misunderstanding is not completely lifted from you, there is definitely a sense of it being taken off your shoulders, at least for the time. And Paul and Flower and Fall, with nothing better to do, start just hanging out in the forest with the various oddball Spriggans and Pixies. And Paul, you do your best to keep yourself physically intact from their various games. Although you do notice that probably in part because of you guys telling them to take out their energy on the Boomergangers, whether it's out of respect for you or because they simply exhausted their playful energy on the cultists, their games are a little less overtly dangerous, although there is still that little bit of tension. And you, Paul, you do get a few bruises to show for it whenever you occasionally stumble a little bit during a game of red light, green light. As you guys settle in and attend to your personal matters, Avaben, do you want to wait until the rest of the party heads back to Tortage to start seeing to your personal matters, or are you willing to do it while they're still in town?
I mean, there's certain things like trying to work out the armor situation. He doesn't really care.
Okay.
He does tell you all with the promise he made that he'll leave it up to him when to deal with that.
Okay. In that
Basically,
case,
surprise me is what he says.
Yeah. Yeah. Which, with a almost disturbingly manic grin, they insist that they will do so.
And I guess at that, he'll go speak to his, the town's, well-known blacksmith.
Okay.
Who happens to be his adoptive uncle.
Okay. Give me just a second to pull up a few things I need for reference here before we dive in. All right. Asari and Greylog. I will say, since Greylog, you do have one last errand you need to run here before heading to Britannia, and then from there home. Avaben, would you be willing to, probably just like a couple days into the festivities and relaxation, be willing to assist Greylog in retrieving the mana he had mined from the Underdark, or are you gonna just force him to deal with that on his own?
He will help, but he will do so with objections.
All right. Greylog?
Which it is up to Greylog whether he notes those objectives. What's the word?
Objections.
Objections, yes. Objection!
Yeah, objection! All right. Greylog?
How much is there that was mined before they mutated?
Since Avaben is helping you, go ahead and roll me survival with advantage.
Advantage. That rat gift's pretty good, but my favorite is still.
So the first one was a 19. The
Okay.
second one is a 23, aka natural 20.
Okay.
That's still my favorite gift right there.
Okay. Greylog, a couple days into your stay, by the once Asari's ready to get moving, uh, you basically just give them the, hang on, there's just something I need to take care of first, and make your way to Avaben's home in the village, and manage to coerce the ranger into assisting you with retrieving the mana your badgers had mined, as you saw coming back up here that there is no way you're going to be able to navigate the Underdark on your own. And even if you
Yeah.
found the mana, you'd almost certainly get lost. Avaben,
Was it basically he either gets advantage or disadvantage on that roll?
it would be a flat roll, but the DC would be higher.
Okay.
That being said, Avaben, you object and you're gruntled about it, but with some grumbles and
Oh, he
complaints.
just says to his parents, "Can you believe this guy? He actually wants to go back in there to get in one of the most dangerous things we know of."
Yeah, which your parents do they kind of smirk a little bit, although they do rib you a little bit that really it's not that different than you.
Do I hear this?
Yeah, you can hear his parents kind of playfully rib him in the next room as he just basically excuses himself to inform them briefly before heading out with you.
Yeah, I'll just, as we're heading out the door, I go, see, your parents don't think it's that bad.
Avaben, it's a routine trip. You've already done this way once before, and this time there's not a Gatling gun or a mutant badger in your way, as far as you know. And
Well, I was going to say, to get us there a bit quicker, because it was quite a distance, Greylock will offer to give him a lift and turn into a giant bird.
Avaben, will you accept this?
Sure. Everything looks like you learned a useful new trick.
Yeah, very useful.
Yeah, Avaben, you cannot understand what he says in this form, but they do give a proud-sounding eagle cry. And hopping aboard.
Yeah, and it's not the sound everybody thinks. It's actually pretty.
Compared to what people expect, it's kind of wimpy.
Yeah.
Yeah, just think Lord of the Rings, Gandalf on the eagle's back.
Yeah. As Greylog the Eagle carries you to the Underdark Tunnel, the two of you make your way inside. And Avaben, to give Greylog some credit as they turn back into their normal form and start navigating with you, despite not being able to see and being at a very distinct disadvantage in navigating this place, to give them some credit, you are somewhat impressed that they actually managed to stay on track fairly well, despite the shifting of the tunnels. And a part of you almost suspects that, given what you know of Greylog adventuring with him up to this point, that maybe he has some kind of supernatural sense for profit. And sure enough, between your ability to navigate the Underdark and Greylog being magnetically drawn to whatever profits him because he refuses to ever play a rogue.
Looking at you.
The two of you make your way back to that fungal wall where the mana vein had been protruding from. However, it is a little different than when you saw it last time. Since you last saw it, you can see deep gashes are carved into the mana. Some of it has been scooped out onto the ground, but rather than just simply lay there in chunks, it looks like it almost like hit the ground, burst, and then solidified and spread. So there's actually more mana than when you started, although it is still in a solid state. You can attempt to retrieve it if you wish.
Is he going to have to roll for that?
Yes.
All right.
But he's going to try to get it quite a bit that he can put into his bag of holding.
All right.
Haven's going to be like, Please be careful. I don't want to have to explain to us. Sorry how I had to put you down because you turned into a horrible monster.
Greylock,
Oh yeah, that would be a great competition.
Greylog, make me a survival check.
Isn't that when he mutates into a horrible monster?
He doesn't even have to roll that
Yeah.
low. He's handling uranium.
It's a 22.
Okay. Greylog, you don't have gloves, a hazmat suit, a Geiger counter, even a pickaxe, anything that you would need to harvest this stuff safely. So you settle for the next best thing and
Hands.
start just scooping into the rock and gravel and tearing out mushrooms
I'm
and
gonna note
rocks.
Raven stands very far away from him when he's doing
No,
this.
I assumed.
Bro, you could have asked for my my
Oh,
my
he's not
bucket.
doing this with his hands.
Bucket.
by the way.
Yeah, you could have asked
But
for
what
my
are you
bucket.
what are you doing with it? Or how are you
Well,
doing it?
He's using his staff to break it apart, and his dagger to scoop.
Okay.
Dagger the scoop.
Lightly better, but
In the future, again, make sure you say that first.
Oh.
Otherwise, I'm just
Sorry.
going to assume you're using whatever method is available to you. All right. Using your staff,
My bad.
you find that it's a little difficult because whenever you find yourself occasionally, you'll jab a part of it to try and break it off with your staff, only for it to shatter and the liquid spreads everywhere and then solidifies into more crystal, which does make you happy initially because it means that you're essentially multiplying the ore, but it's not making it any easier to actually, mine it. But eventually, through a few hours of effort, you are able to start scooping mana into a bag. Although you are still also picking up quite a bit of mushroom and debris along the way. You do not have the equipment or skill set to mine this cleanly. You're using a stick and a knife to
Okay.
mine uranium.
is he gonna have to make a save for like every hour that this stuff is in his presence?
I actually have a system for this because this came up in my Friday game too. So that'll be Greylog's problem when it becomes his problem.
Yeah.
But Avaven, to your kind of dull surprise, Greylog actually does manage to scoop up a decent amount of the stuff. Although it does take him quite a bit of effort. It's by far from a professional or clean job. You can't even imagine what he wants this stuff for. But the druid does eventually seem satisfied.
Yeah, from Raven's knowledge, there's probably like special people who mine this stuff.
At the very least, they need equipment to, a pickaxe, for example, perhaps a shovel.
Or a bucket.
Not a stick and a knife.
Are elves affected by mana mutations?
Yes, but not to as extreme of a degree. Elvish mutations tend to be just positive, but they are still very extreme, so they prefer to avoid them.
Yeah, you might get superpowers, but with great power comes great responsibility.
Yes, exactly. Yes, you'll basically, and if an Elvish miner isn't careful, they'll get superpowers, but with great power comes great responsibility. Exactly.
That's saying stupid. Great power. I'm gonna fucking do some just rad shit for fun.
And plus, when you consider superheroes like the Thing, like not all superheroes are going to look cosmetically attractive. That being said,
Yeah, just look at Deadpool.
yeah, also fair. But with that,
I mean, it didn't stop him.
Greylog, again, it's not a clean or professional job, but you do manage to retrieve several pounds of mana from the vein. Is that all you want to do down here?
That's it.
Avaben, content that Greylog just reduced his lifespan by a few decades, you escort your friend back to the surface.
Raven's just saying to himself, Honestly, that might actually be a good thing because I don't know how much of this guy you can put up with. Honestly, a shorter period of time is probably actually a good thing for him in Avaven's mind.
Making
So Bateman's just smiling like a jackal on the way out.
Just thinking of this shit to himself, trying not to make himself laugh at his internal humor.
All right. Greylog, content with your haul, you and Avaven make your way back to the surface and back to the village by nightfall. With that, the next day, Flowerfall, Paul, and Avaven, you see off Greylog and Asari, who are making their way to the capital of Britannia to see Asari's mother.
As they leave, Avaven's just like, what a god awful place they're going to. Wait, no, it'd be God's awful place.
Are you sure you guys don't want to come? Mom makes really good tea.
Yeah, and they probably got it from our forest.
Sorry, I was going to choose to ignore that.
The rest of the party kind of you see Paul kind of muttering a bit awkwardly, and Flower and Fall just kind of like looking anywhere that's not you. So the two of you eventually content to leave on your own. Sorry, Greylog. As you're making your way, as to get to Britannia from here, you first have to pass through the Sherwood capital of Brusland. You start making your way east, as Avaven, Flowerfall, and Paul stay in Quacko Village for the duration of your time away. Again, Paul,
Well,
you
if I had to guess, if I had to guess though, by flight, how long would it take us to get to Britannia?
By flight, assuming you're going to the capital,
As opposed to fight.
yeah. Assuming you're going to the capital, flight would certainly be faster, as as you wouldn't have to go around Mount Olympus. You could just go over it. You estimate that flying there would probably take you like maybe 3 days.
Okay, so
Even
he
then,
will shift into the giant eagle.
even
He
then,
has 8 hours worth of wild shape for both of them before he has a short rest.
All right. So are you content with that?
Gets me there faster.
All right. You all watch as Greylog transforms into a giant eagle. Asari climbs aboard, and the two fly off into the forest towards the distant looming mountain.
You better not get too high on that ability, right, guys?
could just let go.
Great.
I've even tried to make a joke.
No worse than Lucy in front of making a joke.
I don't know. I didn't quite even
Did
get what he
Flower
was
and
saying.
Paul have anything to say to that?
Doesn't seem like it,
Like,
do they?
Like you said, don't get too high. What?
He said hopefully he doesn't get too high on that new ability.
Because you're going up high. It's a pun.
Not because I'm smoking.
All right. As you guys settle back into what you're doing, Avaven, you make your way to the eastern edge of Quacko Village, where your aunt and uncle have been living in isolation since your adoption. Close to the forest, ergo, many believe among your people, closer to nature and their kin. You find a small smith's hut out in the jungle. Again, easily within a walkable distance from the village, not so far off that they would be considered outside of its territory, but definitely a little on the outlying outskirts. The smithery itself looks fairly new. It was likely constructed fairly recently. And already working outside, you can see your uncle, your adopted uncle, who just looms over the forge, hard at work, working on what appears to be a sword. And you can see it is of the traditional elvish make, made of a glass-like substance. But on seeing you approach, you can distinctly see them glance at you out of the corner of their eye, but otherwise not acknowledge you. But once you approach and you just kind of stand, making it pretty clear you're not leaving, he finally just sighs and puts the sword down and... Can I help you?
Hi, I recently, made a bunch of money. I don't know if you heard. I went and took care of an issue. And, I realized I might need some better, uh, armor for these kinds of adventures. So, I know you're, of course, very good at this kind of stuff. So, I thought I'd ask if I can, commission something from you.
What do you want?
And he'll explain the armor he wants to get.
He initially just kind of nods indifferently, but whenever you mention that you want a minor enchantment on it, he is quiet for a second and shakes his head. I'm afraid that I don't have the supplies for that at the moment.
Have I even insight that?
Make an insight check.
Insight is +2 for. It's gonna be 19.
While he doesn't emote all that much, you do get the distinct impression that you do get the distinct impression that he probably can do this. You know for a fact he's done it before. And Sherwood's typically not hurting for metal. There's a mine into the Underdark, like within walking distance of the village. It seems like he's just trying to avoid serving you magical equipment.
But you're just gonna be like, I have plenty of money. I'm not asking for anything too crazy.
He kind of sighs, realizing that he's been caught in the lie, and mulling it over for a second. He kind of...
Imagine. Okay. Is this gonna be like, I'm sure, I know that the two of you haven't, talked much since, but I'm sure Alcar would really appreciate it if you did me a little favor.
Make a
I have the
persuasion check.
money for it. Persuasion. +3. 17.
He, at the mention of your father, kind of crosses his arms and sighs, and thinking for a moment, kind of running a hand back through what you can see is a long head of blonde hair. Finally, just... 5,000 gold, not a farthing less.
Raven will get out that much gold.
Yeah, which he just takes, and I'll deliver it when it's done. It should only take me a few days. Now go home.
Thank you. What's like a respectful thing that the elves around here do?
Well, bear in mind, what is respectful for the elves would not necessarily be applicable here, given the somewhat strained relationship you two have. Because typically, elves being very affectionate.
You know what I mean? Like their equivalent of like a bow or something.
Well, yeah, a bow in and of itself is perfectly polite.
All right, he'll try to do that just to try and be a little polite and respectful.
Yeah, cordial. Yeah, which he does kind of glance and nod, and sets the sword to the side and seems like he's immediately setting about. You can see him grabbing some animal skins and plates of metal to start forging the armor you had requested.
And with that, Avaven won't trouble him anymore.
All right. Avaven, returning to the village.
He'll probably let his parents know that he ordered something, just so that they know they're not like, surprised by it when it comes by.
Mm-hmm. Which I will say, whenever you bring it up, your father actually does seem a little surprised that your uncle is forging magical equipment, and for you of all people, as he kind of mentions offhandedly that your uncle hasn't done magical equipment in quite some time.
I didn't know he hadn't done it in a while.
Your father kind of gives a bit of a shrug, and most people around here don't have much use for it. That sort of business is better off in the capital. And those who do have a use for it are people he's not willing to sell to.
I wonder why he doesn't work in the capital. Seems like that'd be a better place. He's always been good at it.
Well, he wanted to stay with his family. At least, as much as he and his sister were willing. And
it's a shame that that you and him weren't able to see eye to eye on, well,
If he has a problem with what cubs I decide to adopt, that's his problem, not mine. He can head to the capital and strike it big if he wants. It's not my fault that he's deciding to rot out in the forest by himself. But good job talking him into making you something useful. May not see eye to eye with my brother on a lot of things, but brings me comfort to know that his craftsmanship will be protecting you out there, especially against, well, what you're up against.
Speaking of the capital, I did want to make a point to go there to talk to. I guess the elder would be the best person to ask. I want to try and learn more about what y'all said was behind that door I mentioned.
The curse. Well, you're in luck. You won't have to go far. As soon as the capital got wind of what was happening down here, they actually sent the elder along with a troop contingent. He's in the village now.
Really?
Yeah, did we not mention that? I could have sworn we did. Well, you know now. Yeah, he's staying in a little hut not far from Town Hall. Just look near the tree line. You can't miss it. I hear he's actually interested in seeing you and your friends at some point. Didn't make a point of it, and you've only been back in town for a couple days, so probably hasn't had time to send someone your way, but I doubt he'd turn you away if you went to go see him.
I guess I should. I need to know if I'm helping to find these relics to make sure nobody opens it, or if I'm finding these relics to open it. What he tells me could be a big thing about deciding it. Some people seem to think there's a treasure behind there. Others say there's a curse. Some say there's something that'll change the world.
Maybe it's all three. Should we...
A cursed treasure.
Should we let your pack know that you're going to see the elder, or would you prefer to do this one on your own?
I guess I could see if I can't find them, but two of them already left. One of them's from that unfortunate place north of us.
The Britannian girl.
She wanted to go back to her home. So they've already left, unfortunately. They're gonna meet up again eventually. They're just visiting like I am.
Well, it's healthy to want to see family, especially when you're in the area. Especially you, Mister. I want to stay home while everyone else heads back to see the treasure.
I've been away for a long time.
Oh, don't get us wrong. We're happy to see you, and they give you a hug, and it's nice to have you around.
I wasn't expecting to be back so soon, and whenever I was back, it made me want to stay for a little bit.
Well, you always have a home here, Cub. I guess you go on and let your friends know that you want to see the Elder. I'll make sure he knows you're coming.
Alright, I will. Thank you, and I love
Yeah.
you too.
He gives a smile and pats you on the head,
And I'll give them both a hug.
yeah, which they return. As your father runs off to the kind of northeastern part of town where the town hall and the elder's hut for the time being is, you make your way to the surrounding forest. As you've seen Flowerfall and Paul kind of flitting in and out of the forest periodically, Paul occasionally supporting some minor bruises. And sure enough, by this point, it's kind of mid-afternoon, and you find Paul and the twins just returning from another day of exploring the forest and playing with the Spriggans. You can see Fall is kind of like jittering a bit as they fly, and Paul seems to be limping slightly. But while they both look exhausted, they don't look actively hurt, besides Paul seeming like he took a bit of a fall. Paul, Flower and Fall, as you return from a day of playing in the forest, Avaben approaches you, not looking particularly urgent or anything, but just approaches you as the two of you exit the tree line.
So the Wood Elf Elder is apparently in town, and I intend to ask him some questions if he knows anything about the door. Because my parents mentioned that there's a story going around about it, that what's actually behind that door is something, a curse that could, do what curses do, destroy everything, hellfire, all that. But the Boomergangers and others seem to think there's some kind of something. Sorry, hiccup. That there's something something valuable behind it. So I wanted to ask and see if someone that old maybe knows anything about it.
Wish for us to come along?
I'm giving you the option. That's why I'm letting you know. I'm sure he wouldn't mind answering other questions if you want. We did kind of save the village and possibly everything. I don't think he'll mind answering other questions.
I mean, I guess I could come along. I don't see why not.
About
sounds
our
like a good
two
idea.
sprites.
All right.
Then I'll lead you to where he's supposed to be staying.
All right. Avaben leads the two of you away from the tree line, or rather, kind of encircling it, as you guys had come out of the western tree line, and at this point you're circling around to the northern part of it. And indeed, where you can see the tallest central building of the village, where, again, presumably the town hall of Avaben, you would know, of course, that that's what it is. A structure that appears to be essentially built into the hollowed out remains of a tree that was already dead when the Sherwood elves arrived. The trunk, for the record, insanely massive. Easily like one of those ancient redwoods. And not too far from it, you see a simple hut constructed out of stonework and things of that
Has the
nature.
elders' arrival drawn a crowd?
Surprisingly, no. But I will say that in-universe reasoning is that, as your parents had mentioned, the Elder's actually been in town since before you guys got here. So any questions they had for him or any attention that was drawn has already been attended to while you guys were taking care of everything. And with the battle with the Boomergangers over, the Elder is no longer needed for military reasons. And from the sounds of it, the Elder's just staying here until he gets what he needs out of you guys. As a result, Avaben, you've seen that this hut has been here. It's not like they constructed it just for him. The Elder essentially sort of commandeered it. But as far as you can recall, it's usually just essentially a little hut to let travelers stay in who are coming in from abroad. And as the three of you make your way towards the hut, you see Avaben's father exit and give the three of you a smile and a nod before giving a bow and encouraging you three inside before leaving.
Alright. Remember, this is the elder of all the Wood Elves, so let's try to be respectful.
I mean, I had no plan of being disrespectful, so...
I'm just putting it out there.
Alright.
Heading inside, Flower and Fall, you of course look around eagerly and see that the inside of the hut, whatever it once was, has been converted for the Elder's purposes. You see a large table of stone built in the center. Various glasswork weapons line the walls. And there's various bits of incense burning, as since this is not a wooden and thatch hut, it's safer to burn things. And the incense kind of lulls all of you into kind of a dull sleepiness, especially as the door shuts behind you, seemingly.
But wait, I can't be put to sleep by magical means.
Oh yeah, no, like I said, it's not putting you to sleep, it's more like it's relaxing.
Oh,
Well,
okay.
technically, it depends on if it's magical or not.
Yeah, that's also fair. If it's chemical, then it could still put you to sleep. And I will say that Flower and Fall, you actually recognize the type of incense they're using as similar to the kind used by Magar the Mighty Mage in Tortage.
Brings back memories.
Avaben, while you've never met him in person, you do know the Elder. The president of the Sherwood Republic, Brachiom Ajnaki. According to legend, the Elder of the Wood Elves was the sixth of the elves created. 6 of 7. Supposedly, he is a talented diviner who can gather information on any topic by supposedly entering such a deep state of meditation that he can achieve planar travel, where he travels to the dimension of time and gets information from his own future self. As a result, your people believe that President Ajnaki is all-knowing, able to simply meditate, consult with his future self, and as long as it is an event he will live to see, he can provide information on it.
Avaben will, whenever Avaben first sees him, he will immediately do like a respectful bow. He's not exactly certain of the proper procedure for meeting him, but he's gonna guess.
All will copy him.
Flower and Fall?
They'll do a curtsy.
just kind of hovering in the air, but just do a little.
Yeah.
All right. As you all bow, the three of you take in the Elder appearance-wise for the first time. And I will say, Avaben, for you especially, it's essentially akin to meeting like a borderline mythological figure. It's bizarre.
Yes.
Yeah, it's an everyday thing.
The three of you see a elf with there's several things immediately unusual about his appearance. First of all, elves typically, well, some do. It is rare for elves to have facial hair of any kind, yet you see, in addition to a head of brownish red curly hair, a matching beard. Their skin is brown with hints of green in the veins around the neck and wrists. And as they turn to look at the three of you, you can see their teeth are unnaturally long and sharp, almost like animalistic. And Flower and Fall, you notice this and almost immediately smile. Their appearance physically is like that of a child. They're small, their limbs are gangly, they look so small and weak and unassuming. If it wasn't for the sheer aura of power that comes off of this little creature, you would easily take them to be just a simple elvish child who just got facial hair really young. They're wearing these very interesting looking robes. You can see their robes appear to be feathered, although these trails of bright white and dark red coming off of them in strings. And Avaben, as your people are hunters by nature, you can actually identify he's wearing a very luxurious uniform by your people's standards. His robes are made out of phoenix feathers, and those strings hanging off of the sleeves are the strings of a dragon's heart and the hairs from a unicorn's head. Avaben, you know that to his friends, Brachium Ajnaki is known as Normekte, which in Elvish means a heart of oak. The elves respect his power, but acknowledge that the pain of knowing everything, from seeing eternity, has damaged him deeply. As such, few are willing to consult him for information unless they feel they have to. Not because they do not trust that the information is false, but because they know that every time Brachium sees the future or consults the past, it breaks a damaged heart and mind further. As this childlike elf rises to their feet, their eyes are kind of dull and lifeless, but they raise their hands to the three of you and, giving a small smile, rise.
Fabian will do as he says.
As the three of you rise from your bows and curtsies, you can see the green bright and gleaming in his neck and wrists and fingers, as if the very energy of the forest is struggling to contain itself in such a small and frail little body. But sitting on one end of the long table, presumably used for the generals to consult plans for battling the Boomergangers, he invites the three of you to sit near him and holds out his hands to take your own. Avaben and Paul, he specifically gestures for yours, although Flower and Fall, he does kind of gently nudge you to essentially sit on the table, and all of you form like a sort of like seance circle, hand in hand as you consult with the elder.
Doing some chanting,
Fall will hold out their tiny little hands to a finger.
Avaben and Paul with a finger in the pixie's hands and hand in the elder's. The elder bows their head and, you seek what lies beyond the divine doorway.
That is correct. We've heard conflicting stories of what lies behind it. And maybe one with such knowledge as yours and such experience as yours might know what really went on with that door.
His eyes kind of dull, and he looks around at the three of you. Not conflicting. It's a shifting of perspective. One man's trash is another man's treasure. One man's success is another man's failure. One man's treasure is another man's curse. But only those who lived to see the doorway when it was built know the truth. There is no treasure, but nor is there a curse. There is death. Death to all who walk this world.
Hmm.
That sounds pretty cursed, to be honest.
Oh, but it's not magic. Otherwise, why would the Boomergangers be seeking it so fervently? What is behind that door does not have a drop of magic in its body, and yet it would destroy everything in this world. Burn it to ash, and leave nothing but dust.
So it's a creature?
Not as such.
A deity?
Also not as such. Their eyes darken, turning this gleaming forest green as their expression solidifies, almost as if they're finally starting to concentrate on what's immediately in front of them. The second age of the world, known to the humans as the Bronze Age, was where the first elves were born. Magic was bestowed upon us by the stars, and all creatures of this age were battle-hardened and tough. War was our purpose and our passion. There was no spirits, there was no afterlife. The gods fought for dominance with their forefathers. The angels fought to supersede their leaders and creators. And there was endless bloodshed and strife until the cataclysm tore the world asunder and divided us to ensure peace and prosperity for all. While that is the story most know, there are pieces of the story that are forgotten, only remembered by those who were there. What lies behind that door is not a creature, nor is it a deity. It is, in quite simple terms, evil incarnate. My blood son, Avaben. You know the story, yes, of the great elvish empire of Menotis, the land with which we all seek to unite ourselves once again.
I would assume Aben knows that story.
Yes, it is a story you were raised on. Almost all elves of all cultures are raised on that story. The idea that if the elves can regroup at Menotis, wood elf, light elf, dark elf, all divides will cease to be, and they can just come together as elves once again.
Yes, it is the ancient home of elves, or some say our height might be a good way to describe it. Something we strive to return to, if it's even possible to do so.
Nermekte gives a smile and nods. But we were not alone in the world. We had each other and our conflicting viewpoints. And then there were outsiders.
Does Aben still have the... Because they technically haven't returned to the place.
Yeah,
so, does
so
Aben,
yes, you would still have the pistol.
like, the people who made this, showing the pistol.
Taking your hand briefly off of Flower and Falls, you put the pistol on the table, and he looks down at it and stares for a long moment before... Yes. And you watch as Brachium's form begins to shift. His red hair turns this kind of bluish turquoise green. His brown skin turns pale, and these kind of weird looking markings appear on his face, almost like tattoos of paint. And the teeth shorten. He almost looks human, but the colors and facial markings are unnatural. And he speaks again. Built by the Atlanteans, a race of savage warriors and spies. They came from the seas and sought to destroy everything, conquer everyone. As I said, the Second Age was an era of war. All of us were created to kill and destroy.
And yet, for some reason, we guarded one of their weapons.
It is necessary. There was one other that shared the great land of Thuria with us, back when the world was still whole. The dragons had their island chain far in the waters, far away from us, which left us to share Thuria equally. But there were those who were not satisfied with sharing. The great empire of Sylvestria stood above all. A race of ferocious beasts, following only their god king and his will alone, destroyed everything in their path. Empires fell. The Saurians were all but slaughtered. My people, all conflict ended in loss. Even the Atlanteans and their great war kingdom destroyed themselves in an effort to equal the beast. They call him the King of Beasts, the Lord of all evil. The gods think of him as the most evil thing to have ever walked this world. The darkness that lies in that heart, the heart that was sealed away for good behind the divine doorway, all of the evil and malice in the world would struggle to match it. Narusima.
And so the gods trapped him behind that door.
In the end, Narusima won. Atlantis fell. My people were divided. The Saurians were slaughtered. The dwarves and halflings retreated underground. The humans and my people were all that was left, and we faced slaughter and prepared to meet our death with dignity. Until something happened. Narasimha's own sons, twins, so the story goes, rose against him. They fused themselves with an ancient primordial spirit, not of the gods nor of the titans, and managed to bring down the monster, destroying themselves in the process. As all three beasts lay dead, destroying each other in their battle for their greedy land, the gods separated the world in the great cataclysm to ensure that no such evil could ever take root again, no such ambition would ever have hope of success. His form shifts back to his normal elvish one, and his eyes glow a bright, gleaming green, and you suspect that he's starting to have a vision, and as his sentences are becoming faster, more energized, but simultaneously more incoherent. The Boomagangers, their madman leader, found the ruins that were supposed to be buried and forgotten. Legends of ancient technology that could destroy the world. And they seek to find it. They seek to share it. And they want the monster to lead them. They want to bring him back. They want to open the door. His body does not rot. No blade can pierce his hide. Even the united might of the gods could not hope to destroy the monster's forgotten body. So they created the door, the divine doorway, to seal his body away with all of the other forgotten monsters of the world. Narusima, the great king of beasts, his body lies behind that door in an ancient forgotten city of conquest in death. It doesn't rot. It cannot be destroyed. Even but the gods could not achieve it. They could only hope to lock it away. We guard these keys. The gods guard these keys. The legend is wrong. My people, the elves, believe that it is simply a curse. They've forgotten the monster that took its form. It cannot be reasoned with. You cannot negotiate with it. Even the boomergangers are fools. Narsima does not share power. He simply takes it. Understand, my blood sons. And he looks to Paul and Flower and Fall. Heroes. And to the Britannians. If you open that door, it will mean the end of us all. The only creatures that were powerful enough to slay the king beast are already dead. No weapon, magical or mundane, is capable of piercing his hide. And no one is capable of talking him down. And he stares specifically at you when he says this, Paul. He cannot be reasoned with. You cannot negotiate with a monster. He is a beast, pure evil in its most incarnate form. He will kill the boomergangers. He will kill whoever opens the door, and he will destroy the world to rebuild his empire. Only those who are loyal to him will live. And the world will be united once again under the King of Darkness.
But I thought the Cataclysm made that impossible.
The Cataclysm wasn't to stop us, Blood Son. The Cataclysm was to stop him. But the gods are fools. A few miles of water is not going to be enough to stop such evil. If you open that door, Narsima will rise again. He will kill you all. Build an army. Punish the gods for sealing him away. And all who do not follow will be killed. Britannia, Tortage, Levant. All that will be left is Narsima's lands and our forests here. We will be trapped forever.
So, we cannot open this gate, but we also cannot allow the boomergangers to do so either. But it will still be necessary for us to pursue the relics so that they don't get it. Because I doubt the gods even notice them taking them yet.
Brachiom kind of stares into the middle distance, but after a moment manages to swallow and give a nod. The Council. The Divine Council. It takes years for them to finish their meetings. But by the time they notice, it will be too late. There's a long silence as you all contemplate what you've been told. Brachiom is silent. And Avaben, you can see what your people spoke of. You aren't even sure if he's seeing anything, but just the memories alone are ruining him.
Everyone's going to say, thank you for this information. And I'm sorry if it has cost you anything to tell us.
Brachiom looks to the side and kind of stares at you for a moment, and I gave up so much to ensure that my people would always have a home. And he just stares at you. His eyes a gleaming green.
Okay.
He closes his eyes and he keeps them shut, but you can see the glow beginning to fade. And looking at the floor, or rather at the table, I hope you understand.
Of course.
Now, Matt,
Austin.
could I insight check him?
Yeah, make an insight check.
Top. Insight D&D Beyond. Not very good at that. 16.
His ramblings began to get very personal and nonsensical after a while, but he does seem to believe what he's saying, although you yourself aren't sure. He does seem to believe it, is what I'll say, but elf or not, elder or not, even soothsayer or not everyone is right every time. And this is clearly a man deeply damaged by thousands of years of war and battle and giving up seemingly very personal things to ensure that the Wood Elves, the people he created, would live on. You can't imagine the strain it would put on an individual to be the very first of anything and to know that their destruction could be heralding.
Keep that in mind.
Go. Gather the keys. Please, do not open that door. Even if your lives depend on it, do not allow that door to open.
We will not let them get that door open. I promise you, Elder.
He gives a nod, and rather than looking at you directly, he kind of tilts his head so that his ears are positioned towards you, almost as if he's keeping his eyes closed to avoid having to see anything else. And you're of my sister's blood.
Yes. But I have lived here. I don't know how much you know of what your sister's people do to individuals like me.
I do. That is... I am to blame for that, and for that I'm sorry.
Or that you could have done anything to influence an entire people to such extremes like that. Even you, with respect, Elder.
My sister was a brilliant woman. She wanted what was best for us. But we had known nothing but conquest and war. And we shunned her. And you are reaping the price of the seeds we planted. I'm sorry.
It's all because of a grudge.
ancient grudges are the reason our people are no longer united. Why we cannot find the great headquarters of Minotus. Why our empire fell. When I saw the cataclysm coming, we couldn't agree on what to do. I wanted to hide in the forests. Let Narasima have the world. As long as we had our forests, we'd be safe. My brother wanted to flee over the mountains, find a new land that Narasima couldn't reach, that the cataclysm would not reach. The flood waters, the earthquakes wouldn't destroy us. Our sister proposed a different idea. Find solace in the stars. The Atlanteans had already been putting their conquesting eye on other worlds far beyond our own. If we could take what they had built, use it to our own purposes, perhaps there was a way. But none of my brothers agreed with her. Even I, who was content to hide in the forest like a coward, wasn't willing to abandon the empire we had built for the safety of our people. She watched as men condemned her entire race to death, all for the preservation of an empire that fell anyway. I knew it was coming, and yet I was still so blinded by what we had, I couldn't see it. I couldn't... She was right. My brothers were right. But it's too late now. I'm sorry for the price you paid for my arrogance, Avabe and Aglatha. If I had proper control of my people as my sister does, perhaps things would have been different for you. But my people don't listen. For 201, our descendants were all like us. And for me, that means I'm condemned to lead a race of cowards who refuse to listen to anyone who jeopardizes their safety. Be better than me, Avabe and Aglatha.
Avaben is just like, all of it is because the founder of the Dark Elves was mad that people didn't like her plan. It's all because of some petty grudge. Oh, how the world is cruel, am I right?
Brachiom just stares sadly, eyes still shut, but their brow furrowed.
Well, thank you, Elder, for this information. I do hope that it has not hurt you too much to tell us these things.
Pain's an old friend. Go. I'll be returning to the capital. I must make preparations.
I wish you fair travel.
As do I you, Avabe and Aglatha. My sister's blood or no, when you were found in the forest, you became my kin. My sons and daughters may not see it, but I do. I'm sorry I cannot control my people as well as my siblings can. They all took after me in the end, and you suffered for it.
Well, I guess with that, Avaben will exit.
Paul, Flowerfall, anything from you, or are you just going to follow?
Nope. I'm just gonna get out of here.
Like Paul is there for his part. Gonna leave.
Okay. With the information the elder gave you in tow, the three of you head back out into the village and attempt to enjoy the remainder of your relaxation. Although now, assuming the elder is truthful and his far-seeing eyes have not maddened him, there is no treasure, nor is there a curse, nor in truth is there a thing that will change the world, at least not for the better. If what the elder says is true, all that lies beyond the door, which you are now almost halfway to unlocking, is death. Death to all who walk this world.
And the embodiment of evil, apparently.
Yeah.
Evil's corpse.
Yeah, evil squared. Greylog. Sorry. As you are... Oh, let me switch it over to this one instead, actually. It takes you a couple days, but you are eventually able to see the great skyline of your home. Specifically, heading into Britannian territory. Sorry, you helped direct Greylog to ensure that they make it properly to where you're going. To the city of Londinium, the capital of Britannia, where you were born. A great coastal powerhouse, known mostly for its ability to trade even to the farthest recesses of the world, and their ability to march an army to the same. To some, the coats of the Britannian Empire represent conquest and death and bloodshed, but to you, it's protection, wealth, and a security that your place in the world will not be questioned or challenged. As you make your way down...
So where's Moms and Pops at?
Yeah. Making your way down into the city of Londinium, you have to do a bit of flying around. Given that you were flying from the direction of Mount Olympus, you can actually see people in the street just like pointing up and shouting, but not in fear, but assuming that it must be like a sign of the gods. And given that you don't appear to be attacking anything, they seem content to just point and like be like, ooh, ah.
Ooh. Like, can I use like some of my cantrips to do like fireworks in the sky?
Oh no.
And as you leave a trail of fireworks, you can hear an uproarious cheer go up as, again, the Britannians assume that this is a sign of the gods' favor, a giant eagle trailing fireworks from Mount Olympus.
You can't say anything because you're a bird!
Oh my goodness.
You guys fly over the city skyline, overseeing the docks where the massive fleet of treasure ships and warships and of course trading vessels lie in wait, some coming to and from the busy ports. You fly by the massive bell tower that oversees the entire city. You pass by the university.
Cover Greylog's ears as we go by.
And you pass by the university where you and Anna went to college together, taught by Professor Plaster, studying archaeology.
I'll point it out to Greylog and be like, I went to school there.
That's cool.
He says,
He rolls his bird eyes.
The areas on the outlier of Londinium have started to decline a little bit. You know that with their ongoing conflict with Sherwood, they have been constructing a wall to protect them from Avaben's people, but as a result, money is now flowing away from some of the inner city, and as a result, the parts of the city that are closer to the war front are starting to suffer a bit. In fact, sorry, by the time you had left to go on this adventure, you had actually partially left because that there was actually a plague spreading, and you have heard rumors that the Bretonnians believe the Wood Elves to be at fault for it, as there are rumors that elves will use biological weaponry when at war. Between that and a recent attack from the Sherwood Elves that resulted in a massive fire, a lot of the southern edge of Londinium is not doing great. But luckily, you make your home in the inner parts of the city. You knew pretty much nothing but luxury for most of your life. And you bring Greylog down for a landing at a large, well-off complex of homes. About like you maybe about a kilometer away from the university. Or like a few kilometers away. You can see in the distance the protective wall, but you're far away from the burnt homes of sickly people. And as you come off of the Eagle, and you can see people in the street already like pointing and like gossiping, Greylog, do you turn back to normal?
I'll give him the go-ahead. Be like, all right, show off.
Yeah, he'll just take back up into the air, just do circles until it's about time for it to wear out.
All right.
And while he's circling, he's looking for like banks and stuff where money will be stored.
And you know, this is my home.
Make a perception check.
It's not going to hurt you.
You're here to impress my parents. This is not going to impress them.
What they don't know won't hurt them.
It will.
Yeah, go ahead and make a perception check. And
30-20.
all right, we'll come back to you. Sorry. Approaching one of the larger, decently nice homes, your own. A nice, about 2-story abode, multiple exits, a nice garden out front, a balcony on the top floor. It's not a mansion, but you're well off. You're well off enough.
I'm gonna shout to the sky, you coming down?
Ka, 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 ka.
You just
I'm
get a
gonna go in
series
without
of...
you. 3. If I put my hand on the doorknob. 2.
Would
You're
you have had
gonna
enough
freeze your
time to
ass.
look around?
Given that you've only been flying around for a few seconds, and this is a massive city, no.
She gonna freeze your ass.
She couldn't hit him at
Put you
his
on
height anyway.
ice.
I absolutely can.
He's still flying.
Sorry, as you're counting
But
down...
you don't know his plan.
I don't need to know your plans.
Sorry, before you can even knock on the door, you've just put your hand on it. You hear a voice on the other side immediately pipe up. Is that a sorry I hear? And the door is immediately thrown open.
Sorry. He's just kind of like, hi, Mom!
Oh, my darling girl! And she immediately wraps you up in an embrace. Greylog looking down with your eagle eyes, quite literally. You can make out a, similar to Asari, a somewhat broad and intimidating-looking dragonborn woman. It appears that Asari's dragon heritage goes back a few generations. But unlike Asari, her mother's a little bit closer to the dragon side of it. So unlike Asari, who is big and intimidating and scaly and can breathe stuff, but is still otherwise pretty recognizably humanoid, you can see her mother is sporting a long, muscular tail, a fairly broad set of wings that her dress is stitched to accommodate. And her dress, by the way, is a very tasteful, very clearly custom made and, you know, expensive, but again, it's not like silks and velvets. It's a very simple, down to earth dress, done up with like this kind of seawater blue color that contrasts interestingly against her matching color of Asari's scales, and dotted with clouds and seashells. This kind of generally very coastal, like the kind of kitschy thing you would buy at like Galveston Beach. She wears a necklace of various seashells and things, and looks down at Asari over a pair of rounded glasses that appear to also be custom made to accommodate for her distinctly wide draconic snoot, which you acknowledge actually extends out a bit further than Asari's does, making it very recognizably a dragon mouth compared to Asari's more kind of almost pug-like inward one.
Hey! It's so good to see you.
Of course, darling. Oh, I'd say it's been so long, but you really haven't been away for long at all, have you? How have your travels been going, dear? Is that your new pet? Hello! And she waves up at the eagle circling in the air.
Yes, that's my new pet. Are you going to come down or what?
He's just gonna memorize where that house is and keep searching.
I hate you. He's a better one also.
Your mother just smiles at you with wide draconic teeth. And well, come in. Tell me all about your travels, dear.
Oh my! There's so much. There's so much to tell you. So...
Don't worry. I'm sure your little friend won't run into any trouble. And they kind of glance up at the massive eagle flying around and just kind of give a smile. As long as they don't try to steal anyone's hat, I suppose.
Don't tempt him.
Matthew's really laying it on thick here.
This is a woman who lives in upper class London next to the University of London and across the street from the London Clock Tower. This is Asari's mother.
No, I mean, like, with the references to, like, stealing and shit.
Oh, well, no, actually, that's just more genuinely what she was thinking. Like, oh, yeah, I can't think of anything he could do that would get him in trouble outside of yoinking someone's hat.
Yeah, that's what I meant. I didn't mean, like, accent anything.
Oh, because she doesn't know him well enough to know he won't go for hats.
She also doesn't think you're a
Unless they're made
person.
out of-
She thinks that Asari just has a pet giant eagle.
Well, at least Asari's got good taste then.
So, Asari, I'm assuming you bring your mother up to speed on your adventures you've been on?
Yeah, I'll tell her everything and be like, have to work with this really cantankerous dark elf. I don't even...
Nasty business, dark elves.
I mean, honestly, he's just more cantankerous than I say that.
Is it true that they capture people to feed them to spiders?
Yes.
Oh, I knew it! About time I can settle that bet with Darby.
You can also tell her that I killed one.
Ooh, my little girl's moving up in the world. So exciting! Your first kill as an adventurer.
I wouldn't say that. I killed a lot of people. There were these people called boomergangers, which is a really, really weird name if you ask me. who were probably they were trying to blow up the underground. So yeah, we kind of had to.
And you don't forget about the whole group of dark elves that you wiped out.
So I did wipe out an entire group of dark elves.
An
That's
entire platoon all by yourself.
I
Oh, I'm so proud of you, dear. You show those little underdark monsters what for.
The thing is,
Why did you remind me of Molly Weasley?
Good thing I've been out there.
Yeah, it's Molly Weasley if Molly Weasley was racist.
Look, I wouldn't have come within like 100 feet of this damn city.
Too loud and noisy.
Waking up.
Yeah, your mic's being a little funny.
Hello.
There you are.
Oh, I'm on Jer's mic, so it's Jeremy this time. So she said, "Well, I did meet someone."
Well, don't leave me in suspense, dear.
Well, he actually turned into that giant bird that you saw outside. His name is Greylog. I call him Greg for short. He's not of this world.
Ooh, like those little yellow elves.
No, he's more like a fae.
Oh, shh. And she like does a little spiral symbol over her chest, and like kind of grabs your wrist and forces you to do the same. You watch your mouth, young lady.
Sorry.
You will speak of them with respect, or you will not speak of them at all. Not in my household.
I mean, I'm dating one, so.
You haven't given them your name, have you?
I haven't. Well, I've given them lots of things, but I think it is the worst of our problems.
Oh, I knew I shouldn't have let you go off on your own. And she immediately just starts rolling into scolding you. Greylog. Flying around while Asari gets the scolding of a lifetime from the most British mother alive. You see that, as mentioned, the economy of the city is currently a bit suffering at the moment. You do see a very nice-looking bank, but you also notice that there's a lot more caravans moving out of this area than there are coming in, so you don't imagine that profits are going to be too great. Looking down, you notice that especially people in the slums near where Sherwood is are literally just packing up everything and leaving. And businesses and market stalls are, gathering their goods and just trying to try their luck elsewhere. From the look you get of the kind of central market area, it looks like everyone is packing up and heading west, crossing, taking the mountain pass to try and get to the western settlements that you had passed through to get to Sherwood, in hopes that there will be better fortune for them there, as at the moment, there is some political goings on that you don't know about, but between that and just the issues of Londinium being on the front of the war, and along with some issues they're suffering overseas, the economy is not doing good, and it appears a lot of people are simply packing up and leaving. There may be some valuables you can take, but you're not sure how valuable they'd be.
Since the town doesn't seem to be doing well enough to be worth stealing from, does he see like a blacksmith or anything anywhere?
Yeah, there's smiths of all kinds everywhere. It's a big city. What sort of thing are you looking to buy or commission?
He's just wanting to see if he can't get like a set of blacksmithing tools.
Okay. Just a second.
He will be.
Oh.
All right. A set of smith's tools will run you 20 gold.
Okay. He'll pay it.
All right. Stopping at a blacksmith to get yourself a set of smith's tools. Asari, is there anything regarding the visit with your mother that you want to cover on screen, or are you content to just spend your downtime with her and then head back to Sherwood to regroup in a few days?
Before I leave, I do want to give her some of my gold. And I did her to him.
Right, and you said you want to give her 5,000, right?
Yeah.
Okay. She smiles gratefully and gives you a hug and just, oh, thank you so much, dear, and gives you a little kiss on the cheek and rubs the scales on your head affectionately and in a gesture that's, for Dragonborn very common, kind of scratches under your neck where your scales kind of clump up. And with a hand on your shoulder gives you a wide, toothy smile. And I'll be sure to put it to good use, don't worry. I appreciate you looking out for me, dear.
I know that there's this sickness that's going on, and
Yeah, it's
God forbid anything.
dreadful business, that's those
I want you to be
elves.
taken. I know.
Leaf suckers bringing their diseases into our fine city.
I'm not sure what to do about him, really.
Well, we'll persevere. We always do, dear. And of course, we're safe up here. You just look out for yourself, dear. I'm very worried about you traveling around, especially with a dark elf in your group. Whew.
Well, isn't Paul a human?
Yeah, Paul's a human.
I got a human, and I've got Greylog, and I've got these girls, the twin mind. Very interesting.
A twin mind? Ooh.
Yeah, it's amazing.
It's so interesting. Do they really do that thing where they can see out of each other's eyes?
I haven't asked, but they're very good at what they do. They're very strong.
Well, I trust that you'll be safe, dear. Just make sure you look after yourself and be more careful who you talk to and how you choose to talk about them.
Yes.
I would say by this point, Greylock would have made it back to the house.
All right.
After getting his stuff.
All right. As the two of you are talking, you hear a knock at the door, and come in. It's unlocked. And
he comes in.
What form does he
take?
take?
Him.
Yeah, Greylock, what form are you in? Since you've been wild shaping, kind of on and off.
Oh boy. Should I do the first form that he met Asari in, or should you just go in his no form?
That's up to you.
I guess he'll take the flaming appearance as usual.
All right. Oop, fiery head of hair. You must be Mr. Greylog. She gives a toothy smile and holds a hand out. I am Mama Doctor. That's me.
So she told you, huh?
Oh, everything that I needed to know. And she gives you a big, obvious wink and gives you a smile. Oh, but you can just call me Hilda.
Well, for the record, I'm not that kind of fae.
And she does a spiral across her chest again.
He just raises an eyebrow.
I'll just be like, I'll mouth the words, "Don't get me started."
I'm gonna have to put some iron on my door.
Mum, I was telling him about your tea. And he was saying he was very excited to test your tea.
Oh, yes. I'll put on some tea. And she kind of looks at you, Grail, and kind of points vaguely at you, but seems like she can't settle on what she wants to say. So she just settles for making a kind of noise and just kind of waddling off into the next room.
Your mother is very interesting.
I know. I love her, and she's just mom.
Well, you'll be happy to know this town has nothing worth stealing.
Fuck.
Well, I should say borrowing without permission.
Hey, love, please tell me you're having.
Well, I didn't take anything.
Yeah,
I just looked.
I didn't take
This
anything
is-
because I just said there's
Hey,
nothing
love,
more stealing.
why? If you need money, just ask. I've got plenty.
Well, no harm done. I was mostly curious, anyways.
If you need money, ask.
Good.
Yeah, I love that you basically stole a like chunk of the Ostiliant economy, and yet are like, I should rob a bank. At least Zephyr has the excuse
Yeah,
that he's
right.
like that he doesn't have money on him.
Wow.
Hey. You
Hey?
say that, but you said like +2 equipment is like 50,000 gold.
Yeah, but normal people don't need +2 equipment.
Well, is +3 gonna be 100,000?
Oh, more than that.
Yeah, no more than that actually.
Is there a +3?
I think there is. Yeah. There's +3 stuff. I believe so. Anyway.
Yeah, there is.
Sorry, you stay a few.
Yeah, we'll hang about for a few days, and then I'll tell Greylog that we're ready to leave. Say my goodbye.
All right.
Oh, Mom! By the way, you'll never guess who else I'm working with.
Oh, do tell.
Huh.
Really? Oh, the little sweet little flower girl from university.
She
Oh,
is
is
so
she helping
really
you on your little
excited.
adventure?
She really is. She and I are working very hard.
Well, I suppose somebody has to. I wish you the best of luck, dear. Mwah, mwah. Please stay safe, watch out for yourself, and both of you be more careful who you talk to and how you talk about them. And she kind of boops you on the snoot, sorry, before kind of like giving you a kiss on the head playfully. And goodbye, dear. And Mr. Greylog, please look after my daughter and treat her gently. And you notice that her gaze kind of intensifies quite significantly. And you do kind of have a brief moment that remembering that this woman is more draconic than Asari is, and you've watched Asari take out an entire like battalion of dark elves.
I'll treat her just the way she wants to be treated.
Very good. It's been a pleasure having you two here. Please feel free to come visit anytime. Good luck on your quest, dear.
Oh, Mom, you might want to watch this. We're gonna fly off.
Oh,
And
yes.
he will then take the giant eagle form again.
And you can immediately hear Asari's mom just call out, "See, Dobby, I told you! Giant eagle!"
You
How many pets does she have?
don't want to know. Don't ask.
Kid on
Yeah,
Great
yeah,
Lodge
no,
and
fucking
stuff.
Amanda and I worked out some details for her character, and yeah, no, she's a bit of a hustler and quite a gossip.
I literally said most British person ever.
Yeah, and then I basically added in just some like, what kind of person created Asari, and this is what I came up with.
I love it.
Is this a surprise you were telling me about?
No.
Oh.
No, that's coming at the end of the session, actually.
Oh boy.
With that, Avaven, Paul, Flowerfall, Asari and Greylog are gone for about a week in total. Before you see the giant eagle on the horizon. Paul, you're starting to take quite a bit of a beating from entertaining the Spriggans games, and Flower and Fall, you find yourself having to patch up your paladin more often than he is patching you up from battles.
Just gonna note that Avaben was basically gonna be taking the time to visit his friend Aldi because he didn't get to see her before he left.
Yeah, which I was actually about to get to what you do once everyone leaves and you have Sherwood to yourself for a little bit.
Oh, okay, yeah. We'll take care of it then.
Eventually, once the Britannians return, you all gather your things and prepare to make your way back to the Frisian docks, where
Avaben will fill them in on what the elder told them.
all right. After you guys return and spend a night in Sherwood to just rest and recoup from the jet lag before heading to the docks, Avaben informs you to Greylog and Asari of what the Wood Elf Elder told them, that behind the door lies an ancient evil from the Second Age that, if unleashed, will be unstoppable in the Third Age and conquer the world and lay waste to all who stand in his way.
We are absolutely sure we can trust this from a probably insane old man?
You're talking about someone who was literally alive when that door was closed.
Yes, I'm also talking about somebody who is
Well, has been alive since that door's been closed. So who knows how his,
mental state is.
Yeah.
Look, I know you've returned to. I'm sure you've trying to think. Look, I'm sure you've gotten a good refresher on Britannians, but can you not disrespect my elder?
I am not trying to disrespect your elder, Avaben. I'm just think that you're trying to tell me something that I'm not entirely sure that we should believe.
If you could find somebody else from that time who can tell us, I'll be glad to listen.
Well, actually, come to think of it, I should have asked my mom.
Ooh, question then.
Answer.
How long do dragons usually live?
Nobody in truth knows for sure, and it can vary a bit between dragons, but the kind of commonly accepted idea is that a dragon can, in theory, live forever. Dragons are said to be the apex of creation in the world. Many see them as having the favor of the gods, whereas elves, dwarves, goblins, orcs, humans, everyone had to share the great continent of Thuria. Ancient legend speaks of an island chain that was created solely for the dragons. So if you can believe any creature has just straight up immortality, you can believe that dragons would have it. And even if they're not immortal, they certainly live for a pretty goddamn long time.
So, does the legend say where these islands are?
No, and even if they did, the Cataclysm says that the world was torn asunder by the gods, like on the physical tectonic level. So even if its location was recorded in legend, who knows how reliable that would be now.
Follow-up question: would Asari know if her ancestors are alive?
I'll throw you a bone, just kind of give you a freebie on that one. No.
No, I wouldn't know, or no, they're not.
No, they're not alive. Most dragons from the Second Age are dead. You know that at the dawn of the Third Age, most dragons from the Second Age were slaughtered by the 13 great dragon slayers, who led a crusade of the first adventurers from around the world to curb the dragon population, which, after the Cataclysm, was far exceeding that of the other races. Those few dragons that survived the crusade went into hiding, most retreating to the island chain that is spoken of in legend. So if your ancestors are alive, they're somewhere where you have no idea how to find them.
Well, someone obviously found them.
Yeah.
So the only
Tell you what,
off the top. Oh, good.
I don't necessarily believe everything that he told you, but
Of course you wouldn't.
I do think that whatever is behind that door is going to be significant. So we should continue finding the keys and maybe look further into what's behind the door, because we can't just believe the words of one person just because they were, and she'll use air quotes, there.
Until I am given evidence otherwise, I am going to say that I will not let that door be opened. We should certainly keep trying to find the thing, the what are they called? Relics?
The keys.
Yeah,
the
but most people
relics.
just refer to them as the keys.
Keys or
We should still keep trying to find the keys to make sure the Boomergangers do not find them. Because either belief would hold that is the case.
That much I do agree that we should find them before the boomer do.
Until I am given reason to believe that there is nothing behind that door, nothing like what I've been told, I will not allow those doors to be opened.
You know, it's interesting. You know, what one person thinks is evil, another person won't think is evil. So maybe it's evil in the sense of he thinks it's evil, but maybe it's not.
Maybe that's
there's people.
Discord delay. Aven, go ahead.
Sorry.
Maybe that's a Britannia way to view things, but to me, evil is pretty cut and
It's
dry.
really not. It's
as
more
far as I'm concerned, evil is pretty cut and dry.
I cannot believe that there is just pure evil or pure good. There's no such thing as black and white.
Well, something certainly drove the gods to, split the world into pieces.
Well, the gods also split their father into pieces. What if you go by the Greek Olympian gods? So it's all a matter of perspective.
Indeed.
Well, until you convince me otherwise, I will not allow those doors to be opened.
Do we know how thick those doors are?
Pretty thick. There's 8 layers of tight security. And you know that people have been trying to brute force their way past that door for 600 years, and nobody has even put a scratch on it.
Interesting.
Well, in the time being, I'm gonna go head to again.
Pirate Town?
Tortage?
Yeah.
Yeah, Tortage.
Sorry, my brain decided to say no.
I get that.
I'm
No
gonna
worries.
head towards Tortage and start the research on it. Welcome to do whatever you want, Aven. I'm not going to stop until I find them all.
All right. Paul, Flowerfall, Greylog, sorry. Spending another day or two in town, you gather your things and begin to make your way back to the docks. Aven, while you do see them off from Sherwood, you stay behind for the time being, although you do inform them to have Anna or one of them send you a message, magical or otherwise, in the event that the next key is found, as you've been away from home long enough for the time being. And now that you're finally not getting dirty looks everywhere you go, you're content to stick around for a little bit. You guys return to Tortage. Aven, you have time to yourself. And about a week after the rest of the party has left and you've had time to just, relax, enjoy yourself, visit Ollie and you all more privately and one-on-one, you all does finally make good on his promise. You spend a day together with Ollie, who at this point has been healed from their Spriggan-induced injury, and
What
spend
did
a
she
day.
have to say whenever she saw Vaben again?
She just greets you like, quite fittingly, like an old friend. It's unlike you all, whose greeting was a lot more kind of dramatic. Ollie basically just treats it as if you had never left in the first place, and does crack a few jokes at your expense for making a big deal about going on this epic pilgrimage, only to come back like a month or two later. But while she jokes at your expense, she does seem happy to see you, and the three of you with Ollie and you all's pixie partners have a nice day of just exploring the village. You all, whenever people do give you a sideways glance, immediately stops and publicly scolds them, which starts to put a kind of damp air on anyone who feels like a dark elf in a wood elf village is still free game. And after a while,
Ollie punches them in the face.
Yeah, Ollie does have to bust a few skulls. And once night begins to fall, Ollie returns home, but does give you a hug and say that they're glad to see you again. And Ollie takes you back to his home, which at the moment is empty as his. They both have the all sound, so my brain got mixed up. And you all takes you back to his home, which is currently empty as his father is away at the capital on business.
Vaben's just like, honestly, I would have liked to have seen the look on his face.
I don't really feel like dealing with it right now. Be a bit of a mood killer, if you know what I mean.
I just would have loved been able to tell him how I saved the village.
Oh, trust me, he knows. Fade to black. And Avaben, you receive the armor you had requested from your uncle. To his credit, it is well made, and the enchantment does seem functional. Whether it was some form of persuasion on your part or just him relenting and sticking to his craft, you don't know. But regardless, it doesn't seem like he made an active attempt to kill you. Although you are careful, and Ollie themselves actually suggests it, searching the armor for deliberate chinks that could be used to sneak a dagger. But you do not find any such thing. The armor seems solid and magically enforced.
So what do I add a +1?
Yeah, +1 studded leather.
Your armor will increase studded leather.
The rest of you, returning to Tortage, you settle back into the ways of the pirate town as you had before. At this point, Flowerfall and Paul, this town is becoming a second home to you, as much as you hate to admit it. It's scummy, it's raining all the time, and the citizens are scumbags, but it's home. Paul, you spend your days on the dock fishing, where you've become something of a sort of regular figure in the town. The sailors coming to and from the docks from the conflicting pirate factions of the Brethren of the Coast greet you cheerfully as they pass you by and almost seem to kind of deliberately leave you out of their personal infighting. Sorry, you return to the terrified tattoo artist who, after making it clear you intend to pay him, does somewhat reluctantly provide tattoos to you and Greylog, getting some quite extravagant and expensive ones, which he claims can have magical properties. Flower and Fall, you content yourself with visiting Magar the Mighty Mage, hanging out with the crew of the Breaker, and visiting Avaben's halfling friend, who seems a little disappointed that Avaben stayed behind, but does show that they have a few things from Ostiliant now on display. And once you guys have had time to settle in, Anna, takes you all, as in the group, back down into the city below Tortage, returning to the Divine Doorway. And Blue Moon's compass, the Son of Quetzalcoatl's breastplate, and now the Forge Cast pistol. The door shifts as you can hear the third of 8 layers of locks begin to recede. And Anna and Asari immediately begin scrambling to write notes on what the next artifact should be. You all stay in town for... it takes about 2 weeks for the next artifact to be discovered. So with that in mind, Greylog, I believe you're the only one left who has anything to do. Although, Paul, you said other than fishing, you were just going to do some training. So, with that in mind, Greylog, what would you like to do while you're in town? As I believe everyone else has been covered, although correct me if I'm wrong.
So mostly like during early morning, he's going to go into the water and start searching the ships again, but
right.
going further out this time because he already searched the front ones.
Okay. And how long can you be wild shape now? Does the time extend at all, or is it just you get more uses of it?
It's 4 hours.
And yeah, what was it like on hour originally, or what was it originally?
Yeah. When I first got wild shape, it was 1 hour, it was 2 hours, and now it's 4 hours.
Okay, that's what I thought. I was checking. Okay, yep. In that case, make a survival check. Because, yeah, now you can access the deeper shipwrecks surrounding Tortage.
I'm using my inspiration.
All right. For this chapter or from the previous chapter?
Previous chapter.
Okay, just making sure.
And that's 19 now.
Okay. Sorry about that. I was throwing in a few things. Nope. Okay. Searching the various shipwrecks, you initially find what appears to be a kind of unassuming looking schooner. However, on closer inspection, you realize that it was actually just carrying a lot of loot, which combined with the dangerous weather around here weighed it down to the point where it sunk. And searching through the loot, you find a chest that's quite heavy, and managing to drag it in your octopus form back to the dock. Paul, you just fishing on the dock, see, again, Greylog in his seafaring form crawl onto the dock with chest in tow and start busting it open. Greylog, inside the chest you find 2,400 gold pieces and about 11 different various quartzes and agates and gems.
Agates.
Okay, so you said 2,400 gold?
Yeah, and 11 gems of various kinds.
What's an
So
agate?
he's gonna.
An agate is just a type of gem.
It's a crystal that's found through the earth.
So he's gonna pocket those, and he's gonna keep looking.
Unlike
All right.
Aglet.
Funnily enough, a lapis lazuli is not an agate.
Really? Huh.
And he does this for about 8 hours in the morning until he runs out of wild shape, and then he works on making the weapons that he's been wanting to do for the park.
Okay. Did you already add the first items I said?
Let me see. I haven't added the 11 gems yet.
Yeah, go ahead and do that before, because I'm rattling off items. So.
Got it.
All right. Over the next few days of just exploring the shipwrecks while working on your pet project, you're also able to find 21,000 pieces of silver,
Wow.
various bits of jewelry from one of the shipwrecks, and on one of the ships, you actually find what appears to be a horseshoe of some kind, and various potions that were stored away in a wardrobe that got sunk.
Okay, I will pocket all of those.
So, according to Google, agates are actually formed from volcanic and metamorphic rock.
Interesting. All
And
right.
you said it was 2,100 silver?
Yeah, 21000. And once you have that written down, make me a Smith's Tools check. And because you don't know how to make the kind of steel you're trying to replicate, I'm going to say this is at disadvantage.
Okay, for the Smith Tools check, do I add any proficiencies to it, or
Are you proficient in Smith's Tools?
I was wanting to take some of my downtime to become proficient with them.
Okay, I'll tell you what. I won't consider you proficient for this downtime, but in future ones I will. It's just, I'll consider this your practice in becoming proficient.
Okay, fair. So just a straight roll then?
Yeah, and this will be a strength check.
Okay, that is a 17 with disadvantage.
17?
Yes.
Okay. Greylog, as mentioned, you did not mine the mana you collected professionally. You used improvised tools. The mana itself was already contaminated, and then you dragged it through jungles and through the air and overseas. To call this mana impure would be an insult to the impure. As the person who actually wrote the process of smithing what you're trying to create, Hunter, would you mind saying what exactly Greylog experiences trying to refine improperly purified mana into crysteel?
Basically, if it's impure, then what you're gonna basically get is a kind of shitty steel. Because it's not going to have the strength that would normally be added to it, nor any of the magical properties, but it's also going to be less strong because it's got all this extra shit getting in the way.
It wouldn't be that bad. But actually, would it? All the seafarer, if it stays in the bag of holding. You know?
Well, I'm more just like, at the end of the day, the main problem is that there's dirt and fungus in it.
You're probably just going to have a very... It's probably just going to be a... Like, if you made, like, a sword, it would probably just break upon attempting to swing at anything.
So, Greylog, you spend several days trying to replicate the ancient forging techniques that you saw the Atlanteans put into the Forgecast pistol. But you are a lot of things. A changeling, a druid, a Sari's kind of boyfriend, an adventurer. But you are not a smith. And you are not an Atlantean. You do not know how to make crysteel. You barely know how to make steel. And the mana you mined was too impure. While you do manage to get things that are blade-shaped, as Hunter said, they are far too fragile to be useful in combat, nor do they seem to have inherited the magical properties of the Forgecast pistol itself. Disappointing, but you've gotten some practice, and you at least feel like you know how to use these tools for the future, but you have drained, I'll say all but like 3 pounds of your mana supply.
With the last 3 pounds, he wants to use his chemical, like,
You know,
He wants to try and make him more pure.
and he's going to use his tinker tools and stuff to try to and get some of the debris out to make it more pure.
Okay. Make me. I'll just call this a tinker tools check.
He's gonna try to purify it with tinker tools.
Oh yeah, but he did flavor it as like there's chemicals that can like basically like try and water out some of the impurities, which I'll allow.
And like draining it and stuff like that, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so this one is what you say dex. A dex
intelligence.
Intelligence.
Tinker tools is intelligence plus proficiency if you're proficient.
So I'd imagine like magic shops would probably have mana crystal that you can buy.
Occasionally, but not super frequently. Typically, if you get them, they're already like manufactured in a specific way. So it's typically the places that do that sort of crafting are super protective and isolated of that technology. So
fair.
Yeah, Greylog, how'd you do?
It was 18.
All right. You feel like you've purified it. You want to take one last crack at making crysteel?
One more try.
All right, and I will say at this point you've used up enough of your supply. Whether you succeed or fail, you get one last shot. Which weapon that your party requested are you going to try and make?
A staff.
Okay. Make me a Smith's Tools check. Strength, no proficiency bonus.
That is a 21 on that.
Greylog, you funnel the mana, refine it, hammer. You have the pattern worked out, the design, everything. But in the end, when you give the staff after it's finished a practice swing, shatters. You feel like you know how to do it, but you cannot figure out what you're doing wrong that the Atlanteans had figured out. Maybe the mana was still too impure. Maybe you just simply don't have the right forging equipment to do it. You feel like you did decently, but in the end, as described, if you're going to try and make a crysteel weapon, it's either go big or go home. You're either going to have a great weapon or a weapon that's non-functional. And in the end, sadly, that is what happened. It did better than the last time, though, as, again, you're confident the mana itself was purified, and the weapon itself looked presentable. It just, in the end, was not... It couldn't stand up to actual field use. It would have made a decent decorative piece, but it would not have been a functional weapon.
Okay, that's fair. And then there's only one other thing that he wants to do.
All right, what do you want to do?
He wants to go see that, what's it, halfling?
Yes, the one who sells magic items.
Yeah. And he also wants to sell those gems.
Okay. Selling the gems, do you also want to sell off the other valuables you got from the other shipwreck?
Yes.
And I'm assuming you're willing to just accept market price?
On the gems, he's not sure. He's going to see what they offer and see if they're trying to cheat him out.
For the gems,
but on everything else, yeah.
For the gems, you are offered in total about 150 gold.
And what kind of gems are these again?
Most of them are just agates and lesser gems, like no like diamonds or sapphires or anything. It's mostly just like quartzes and crystals and things. Shiny, but not like like crazy valuable.
Okay, he'll accept that.
All right, and for the just other various jewelries, and you get like an orb, a shield, a medallion. For all the other just random valuables you picked up through your shipwreck diving, you managed to coax out an additional 2,000 gold.
And that's for the jewelry?
Yeah, that's just for every other non-coin thing you picked up. Do you want to sell the horseshoe and potions as well?
The horseshoe and potions I want to hold on to for now.
Okay. So yeah, in total you get 2,150 gold for selling all the stuff you salvaged. And what's the last thing? And you said you wanted to visit the halfling. What do you want to do?
Since he does magical stuff, he's gonna let him see the horseshoe and the potions and see if he knows what they are.
Okay. Give me just a
and
second.
then see what he has in stock.
Just a normal horseshoe. Like, tell me what this does.
Well, you put it on a horse's foot, and it makes it more comfortable. All right.
Well, if it's a plain horseshoe, then so be it. But you never know.
Yeah, no.
Da 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 da.
Da 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 da.
Da 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 da. Looking around the shop while they identify the items for you, the halfling does eventually kind of pipe up offhandedly. Yeah. I recognize these. Zephyr horseshoes.
They're what?
Zephyr horseshoes. Yeah.
What?
Yeah, just like miles away.
No.
And what exactly is that?
Oh, it's named after some great hero from overseas or something. Apparently, he had a reputation for always wanting to get everywhere fast, so mages made these in honor of him. And they kind of chuck the horseshoes onto the table in front of you. Put these on a horse or a beast of burden, and they'll be able to cross any terrain, no matter what. Lava, water, you name it. They can cross it.
Cool.
Okay.
You get the full set, or the...
Yeah, it's horseshoes. So, yeah, there's 4 of them.
Oh, yeah. For a minute, that was like a single horseshoe. Like...
Is there going to be a Caleb dagger, a dagger that instantly kills anything it touches?
I'm sure he has something for all of us.
Well, no, I think it's also just the fact that that's a real item.
Yeah, I can't take credit for it. I just flavored the lore.
Yeah. Horseshoe of the
Okay,
Zephyr.
and what about the potions?
Oh, that's easy. And they point to the one in your left hand, which is a kind of bright greenish yellow color with a black kind of line running through the middle, like in the liquid. Potion of Cat's Grace makes you just a little more agile if you need to be. And they gesture to this kind of reddish potion that almost looks like a healing potion, except whereas the healing potion bubbles like ambiently, the bubbles in this one appear to be stuck. The only thing that distinguishes it from a healing potion, and you would have mistaken it had you not been looking for that. That is a shrinking potion.
Oh no, that's what you need.
So you got an agility potion, shrinking potion, and Zephyr's horseshoes.
Would you be willing to buy those?
The horseshoes? Oh yeah, sure. I could probably find some slummer from Yav to sell it to. I'll take it off your hands for 3,000.
Does he seem to be giving me a good price?
Make an insight check.
16.
Not only are they giving you a good price, they're actually giving you a hell of a discount. If these things are like an item named after a historical figure, like they probably like basically you feel like you could barter for more, honestly. But they seem to be offering you a fair discount given that you know each other and you are one of their favorite customers given that you bolster their stock with every adventure.
Ow, he's selling.
Oh, really? He's trying to sell them the horseshoe.
Yeah, you shouldn't sell him the horseshoe, not buy it.
Well, no, basically what I mean is that, like, basically they are giving Greylog more money than like basically Greylog is in a position of negotiating where Greylog could actually argue for more money reasonably, but the halfling is actually basically like giving them far more than you would reasonably start a negotiation with, just to be nice.
And he
Basically,
said 3,000?
Yeah, 3,000 for the horseshoes.
Do you think you go a little bit higher? They are, after all, named after a famous person.
Make a persuasion check.
Super famous person who runs really fast.
That is a dirty 20.
Yeah, all right. 4,000, but I can't go any higher than that. I still got a business to run.
Oh, that's fair. And he'll accept 4,000.
And they slide you the gold as they greedily scoop up the horseshoes and start displaying them on the walls. Thank you. I know I've seen pirates from the open polar sea around here somewhere. I bet I can convince some of them to take it. Anything else in my stock interests you? And looking around, the only new items you notice that appear to be in stock, you do notice another copy of the Ostillion medallions. But other than that, you kind of look around and don't see anything immediately catching your eye. It seems like you guys probably scooped up most of the valuable stuff. Until that is, you spot on the wall a familiar-looking double-bladed sword. And when I say familiar looking, I don't even mean like, oh, it appears to be the same design. I mean that you look and it actually does appear to have the same kind of wear and tear that the one you found in the prison did.
Pawn
You mean the
Stars
same one
Cordage.
that Ivan's boyfriend had?
Yeah.
Yeah, nice sword you got there. I
Oh,
wonder where
thanks.
you got it.
Oh, I took it off a real cheapskate.
Well, seemed like a good buy, but what about these potions? Are you willing to buy those too?
I'll take them if you don't want them. I don't typically deal in potions, but there's dealers on the west side of town I can negotiate with. I'll take them both off your hands for $250.
I'll do 250.
They toss you the coins and take the potions. Pleasure doing business with you. Oh, and could you not tell Avaben about the blade? I got greedy.
It was if you bought it, it's all fair and square.
Yeah, bought it.
Like,
He's worse than you.
Yeah. Sticky fingers, huh?
Less sticky fingers and more, I don't like people touching my stuff.
Fair enough.
Ta-ta!
Is that elemental thing still there?
I don't believe anyone's purchased that, have they? Nobody's purchased the air elemental control thing?
I want on our party.
Oh yeah, because I know nobody's bought it on my end, so I was making sure. All right, yes,
you actually
the little...
tracked that.
Yes, but I was double checking to make sure that, because I knew I hadn't said it, so I was like, I just need to make sure nobody in the party had. Yeah, you see that the sensor of controlling air elemental is still there.
And what exactly does that do again?
It summons an air elemental that is trapped inside. However, according to the mouse that runs the store, the air elemental is a little hard to control and will make any attempt it can to either sabotage you or go against your orders. So basically, if you can control it or give good enough orders, then it's really useful. But if you aren't specific enough or get lazy with it, it'll probably turn on you. It does not like being sealed away.
Doesn't it, like, once you use it, it's free, right? For the next 2 hours.
If that is the case, the halfling didn't mention it.
And how much is he wanting for that?
As they kind of notice you looking at the censor from the pyramid in Levant again, they considering it again, are we? 5,000 for that.
And is it usable more than once? Does it, one time, one use, like a genie sort of thing?
No, it can be used more than once. Although, bear in mind, the elemental's not exactly happy about that. So, as I told you last time, watch it.
And after it's completed its task, it goes straight back in, or how does that part work?
The sensor's enchanted. Whoever created it really wanted that elemental to stay put. So, yes, it'll stay where it is. Just get drawn right back inside after it's fought in battle alongside you or done your taxes or whatever you want it to do.
So it goes back in when I want it back in. Theoretically.
More or less.
I don't like the sound of that.
I understand, Greylog. This is not traditional spellcraft. I've been looking over this thing more since you last checked it out. Since your party seemed interested, but were a little hesitant, which understandable. This is ancient magic, and they kind of tap their paws along the side of the sensor. This spirit's powerful, hard to control. Like I said, it's a valuable ally. Just make sure you don't lose your grip on it. Well, what are you thinking? Is my internet out or am I going crazy?
No.
he's
Sorry.
just
I rolled a dice to see if he gets it or not. And it's going to be a no. He didn't roll high enough to actually get it.
All right, suit yourself. It's not going anywhere. Honestly, most people in this town don't have enough money for it. I just love collecting stuff.
Yeah, you and me both.
Well, enjoy the look around. Once you're done here, I'll head out for the west side and start pulling some strings on getting this stuff sold. And they kind of shake the potions in their grip cheerfully. You enjoy yourself, and tell LeVay I said hello whenever he gets back. Can't wait to see you on the next adventure. That was a lot of fun watching you guys running through that city.
Yeah, it was fun.
Although, bit of advice, and they say this as they're like halfway out the door and like holding it open for you. Next time an ogre is stalking the party, I suggest you don't stop and stare at it.
Yeah, that one hurt.
I bet. But hey, you live to tell about it. Only a few broken ribs. And they kind of pat you on the back and chuckle themselves. But take care of yourself. I'll see you for the next run, yeah?
Yeah, definitely.
All right. And as they start walking down the wooden railway that leads down into the thoroughfare below, you can hear them kind of, "Who wants to come visit the Dawn with me?" And you can hear several pirates like, "Ah!" And like a crowd starts to gather.
I like this guy.
No, he's fun. Yeah. Greylog.
What did he say? Who wants to go see the Dawn?
Yeah, who wants to go visit the Dawn? And with that, Asari, your days are spent studying with your college roommate. Paul, your days are spent fishing and training, readying for the next mission, and mulling over what may await you behind that doorway that you're closer than ever to opening and are now competing with multiple factions for. Avaben, your days are spent lounging with your friends and family back in your hometown. Greylog, you sit on the docks with Paul and tinker to your heart's content. And Flower and Fall, you navigate the winding ways of the town and, not really busying yourself with any task in particular, you just focus on getting to know the locals a little bit. You start to learn about some of the local factions and what their personal wants and desires are, and you manage to actually make a few connections with their leaders just by dint of being who you are. It's hard to resist a cute little pixie who just wants to be your friend. But eventually, as it ever does, Avaven, a letter arrives at your home, carried by a pidge. And written on it in somewhat fancy handwriting that you estimate to be Professor Plaster's. We found the next key. Get here as fast as you can. Plaster.
Alright, I guess I'll have to leave now.
Well, don't be a stranger, yeah?
I'm sure we'll come by here again. I think there was something we talked about, a reason we might come back here, but I kind of forgot.
He kind of chuckles and pats you on the shoulder. Well, just try and stay safe, but keep doing what you're doing, and I'm sure you'll be all right. And Ollie, who's kind of working on putting a new stone arrow together, kind of gives you a smile and a nod. And stay out of trouble, yeah? Well, make sure you finish the trouble that you start. And they kind of give you a wink.
Yeah, I kind of missed you having to save you all. So it would have been nice to have a second arrow hitting people in the face.
Oh, shut up. Ollie just chuckles. And Avaben, as you start making your way out of the village, seen off with a loving goodbye from your parents and your friends, and of course, your boyfriend. Your uncle, your birth uncle, greets you at the edge of town, having came up from the Underdark a few weeks into your downtime, and his acclamation to the village has been awkward. He has not been to the surface his entire life, after all. But especially with you all violently pushing, with Ollie's help, for some discipline in the town's reformations, it's, again, an awkward reform, but a successful one. It's not clean, it's not pretty, but it works. But your uncle is packing a large, almost comedically large backpack, and gives you a smile, seeming far happier than he ever was in the Underdark. And ready to set sail?
He said he was coming with us?
Yeah, he had mentioned that if he did come to the surface, he actually would want to travel with you.
Yeah, I think so. We just need to find someone to take us there. I do have plenty of gold.
I'd be more than happy to take care of both of us for that. And they pull a few silver coins out of their pocket. And your mother, she left me an allowance of sorts, more than enough to get us to where are we going? Tortage?
Yes.
Heard the stories. Guess I should tighten my purse strings. And they actually do stop and tighten their backpack straps a little bit, and kind of breathing a deep.
The best.
They excitedly accompany you to the Frisian docks, where it doesn't take too long. These kind of services are offered by most dock workers in this area. Someone to pay to get you to Tortage.
Well,
and
see, with it being a pirate haven, we probably had to find pirates to do it.
Well, yeah, that's kind of the funny thing, is that it is still considered technically under like government authority, but the pirates have so much control that it's like basically Tortage is not legally a pirate town, but the pirates and thieves have so much influence that if you actually try to insist to anyone that it's a functioning government, they would just laugh at you.
Again, the point still stands.
Oh, no, that's fair.
Pirates.
Yeah, basically it's more that you're sailing to a corrupt port than you are to a straight-up pirate port. But regardless, yes, you do commission a pirate vessel to take you to Tortage. Although, you and your uncle do notice that there is something of a shortage. Whenever you had come to the Frisian docks the first time, there were pirates everywhere, as well as the Thieves Guild. But whenever you approach the docks this time, you notice things are kind of quiet. There's no urchins darting around picking people's pockets. The black flag isn't waving in port. And again, you do find a pirate who's willing to take you, but it does surprise you that it actually takes you effort rather than just throwing coins at the first ship you see and leaving.
Let's see, Baben will probably ask, is there some kind of great pirate gathering going on or something?
You ask the captain of the vessel that's taking you. It's a simple schooner. It's nothing like super fancy. And the pirate, a kind of large, red-headed man, kind of glares at you kind of suspiciously and just, you a cop?
No, just a traveler looking to get to Tortage.
Yes.
You notice, I'll say you notice this pirate is very, very fat, and they kind of pat their tummy thoughtfully. And you notice that as they pull their hat off to wipe their brow, that they have a bit of a balding head, and their beard kind of curls and rounds out at the bottom. And make a persuasion check.
Persuasion check. Persuasion. Of a certain persuasion. Okay. +3. I'm actually proficient with persuasion, but I only get a +3 to it.
My modifier.
15.
The man kind of hesitates, but after a bit of consideration, looking between you and your uncle, who seem non-threatening enough, he eventually kind of sighs and, all right, fine. Yes, we're gathering, but keep it on the down low. Can't have word getting out. There's people after us, you know.
From what I understand, pirates and the people from where I'm from actually seem to have both share a dislike for the Britannians, from what I understand.
No, what's after us is far worse than the Britannians.
Oh, interesting. I'm sure my group that I'm meeting will probably get caught up in it somehow. We always find trouble.
Well, just make yourself useful and try not to cause any trouble. Come on, boys! We're setting sail! And the captain starts having his crew get the ship moving. All in all, several months have passed by the time, Avaben, you pull into Tortage. Between the party having to get there, and then you having to get there, and the downtime and all that. In total, it's been about 4 months since you guys first set out to get the Forge Cast pistol. But again, a lot of that was just travel time. And Flower and Fallen Paul, it actually hits you that in 2 months, you will have been on this quest for a year. Avaben, as you pull into the scummy docks of Tortage, you notice the exact opposite of what's going down in Frisia, whereas Frisia had been completely cleaned of pirates, Tortage is always crowded with them. The dock is far too small to support the amount of traffic the island gets. But you notice that there's practically a fleet stationed outside the town. And the guy who you paid to get you there has to basically park several miles away and start dropping off a longboat and just leave you to row your pretty ass to shore yourself.
Oh, so y'all are all meeting here then?
No, we're just waiting.
Interesting.
Now get to shore, and don't tell anyone I told you any of this.
Or what? They'll make you walk the plank.
Look, if Brother Ares finds out that I'm just telling any random passerby about what's going on, I've seen what he does to his enemies. I'd hate to see what he does to traitors. Seriously, keep your mouth shut about it.
What is he, like your boss or something?
Yeah, what of it?
Sounds like an interesting person to meet.
He kind of, at this, actually does kind of give a bit of a shrug and something of a smile and think, he's interesting, you should meet his son.
I can only imagine what the son of a pirate would be like.
Imagine what you're picturing and about 30 times crazier.
Very interesting. Alright, I will leave your ship then and let you get back to the pirate life.
Yo-ho. Alright, get to shore. The longboat you can have for nothing.
Very kind of you. And maybe we'll head to shore.
Alright. Paul, you're fishing on the dock whenever you see a Vaben rowing to shore from a longboat. And Paul, you've noticed it too with your fishing on the docks, that there is a massive gathering of pirate vessels happening. And the dock is super crowded. And you notice it's pirates from all over the world. Paul, you can see from your position on the dock, and Greylog as you're fishing up a bit of salvage, but having to be kind of careful to hide what you're gathering from the pirates. And Avaben, as you row to shore, you can see not just the typical sailing vessels you've gotten used to seeing through your travels, but all sorts of cultures. You see the drill-mounted, treadmill-powered vessels of the orcs, the submarines of the dwarfish empires, the floating, almost ethereal vessels of the elves. And you can even see ships flying through the sky, positioned over Tortage with anchors hanging low to keep them in place. Tortage is being flooded with pirates from all over the world. But whatever they're meeting about, they've been very hush-hush about. They refuse to talk to outsiders about it.
Does Avaben row past any interesting-looking ships?
Make a perception check.
Perception. Oh shit, is it daylight?
Yes.
Am I in broad daylight?
Very much so.
So this is going to be disadvantage.
Very much, yes.
Unless you get yourself a little Paris, so.
It's going to be an 11.
Looking around, you actually see, like I said, there's vessels from all over the world here. Again, the treadmill-powered ships of the orcs, the submarines of the dwarfs, where you can actually pass by what little bit of them pokes over the surface. You pass by, of course, your traditional human ships, schooners, brigantines, galleons, even the occasional frigate. Floating in the air, you can see airships high above. You have to squint, but you can actually make out the occasional nameplate of various ships. You can see one of the airships flying high in the air reads proudly the ultimatum. You see a massive, almost man-o-war, bristling with guns, and also like floating a little bit above the water, called the Strong Arm. And you can see a frigate that you recognize from your time in Frisia. That reads, I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, it would be the Dauntless, yes?
Yeah.
Yeah, just okay, I thought I had it right, just checking. You can see a frigate that you're passing under, the Dauntless. Pirates from all over the world. A lot of these are written in different languages. A lot of the crew members are completely different species. A global gathering of pirates all on this tiny island. But you notice very few of them are actually going ashore. They're all just waiting in the water. Paul, you see Avaben rowing to shore. Greylog, you can see this as well. Greylog, you're just finishing up a salvage run. Paul, you're just doing your usual fishing, and Avaben, you see your comrades as you row to shore. At this point, it's been about 3 months since you last saw them.
Yeah, Wagon's gonna come ashore and be like, the pirates are up to something.
Yeah. Oh, and your halfling friend said hi.
Oh, that's good. I probably should see him.
Yeah, he hasn't gotten anything new.
No, that's unfortunate. Seems like, from what I understand, they have the next key ready, so I probably won't have much time to chit-chat.
Yeah. Depending on what happens with this lot.
How much do you want to bet that the next key is going to wind up being wherever all these pirates are going?
Well, we don't have any shortage of people to hire to get us there, at least.
That is true.
Flower and Fall, what are you doing?
Vibing.
Balking at all the ships.
So yeah, and Paul, do you rise from your fishing once Avaben seems content to head into town?
R.I.P.
I believe he may have fallen asleep.
I'll
I had a mute button.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry if you were trying
you
to say
always
something.
do that.
But yeah, because I make sure my clicking doesn't get on the screen.
No, yeah, like I understand, yeah. Were you trying to say anything while you're muted, or?
Not for the most part, no. But what were you saying earlier?
Basically, Avaben was just pointing out, like, the pirates are up to something and how much you want to bet that the next key has something to do with it.
That part I heard. I was like, you mentioned. Yes.
Oh, I was seeing what everyone's doing right now. I already know where Asari is, so I'm just making sure all the characters are accounted for.
I mean, you mentioned if I'm gonna get up from my thing. Do I have like a catch going on, or just calm water?
Make a survival check.
I feel like all the ships would scare the fish away.
I mean, they're not moving, so.
They were moving at one point.
Did I even mention their leader's name? The pirates? Eris.
Oh, no, it doesn't sound like it. And what you?
I rolled a 0. I got a natural
Paul,
1.
You are frustrated. You have a sunburn. You've been out here all day, but these goddamn pirates are scaring all the fish off.
Goddamn pirates.
Also, you do manage to catch a single scrawny Yulong, which you recall tastes like death.
Yeah.
I just see this paladin standing on the dock.
Yeah, Paul's just nursing a sunburn on his neck, and all he has to show for it is a single disgusting fish.
Yeah.
He's just shouting at the pirates, "Tell us, get away on the fish!"
He's Calm
And you can
down.
immediately hear yells from. You can immediately see what appears to be an orc. From one of the frigates. Just, you're scaring away all the people. Stuff it.
Now there's plenty of people.
Also, Raven wouldn't have mentioned
Probably.
it because he would have seen no relevance to doing so.
Yeah.
Yeah, fair.
All right. And Paul, as you disappointedly rise from your attempt to fish, Flower and Fall, you kind of drift towards them as you just gawk at all of these different ships gathering as if in wait for something.
I guess, did we go get this artifact ready?
Yeah, that's what we're here for.
Flower and Fall, anything from you before you head to the professor's home?
Just gonna take their time looking.
Also, he's gonna look to.
watching.
Raven's gonna look to Paul and Flower and Fall and ask, "Did you tell what's the plant person's name again, Matthew?
Anna Kemry.
Did you tell Professor Anna about what we? I guess
I'm sure it's
to be fair, the claims we've heard recently.
About the door and all that. Cutting out.
Yeah, we.
Yeah, your internet's too bad right now. Flower and Fall, would you have passed information of what you were told to Anna?
Yeah, but obviously in a kind of.
Yeah, not just like out in the fucking
way.
open, just.
But also like kind of skipping the details. It's like, that was pretty harrowing.
All right. Which, when you told her this, Anna seemed, to your surprise, actually just kind of like, like almost the expression of somebody who's just like, okay, like almost doesn't fucking
Doesn't believe it.
Oh, and Grail, you would know Anna already knows that. That's how she and Asari have been pinpointing where the items are.
No, I meant the information the Elder told us.
Yeah,
No, Grail was just asking that separately, I think.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. It was something Greylog asked separately.
Yeah, in chat. All right.
Internet.
All right, so yeah, Anna doesn't seem too surprised actually by the revelation, although they do agree that, yeah, it doesn't necessarily change your objective of secure all of them before the Boomer Gangers can get them, and Anna does promise they'll look further into it while you guys are securing the next key. And it's less of not believing. In fact, whenever you guys told her, she actually outright acknowledged she has heard the stories of Nardasima. And it's not even that she doesn't believe they're true. She just isn't necessarily sure, like, how deep it goes, basically. It's not even necessarily that she disbelieves that could be what's behind the door. It's just that, similar to Asari, it seems like she's prioritizing proving it over just, oh, that's dangerous, we should leave it alone. That being said...
Is the internet better now?
Yeah.
Sounds like it, yes.
Okay, great.
Asari?
We're gonna open that door, probably.
Asari?
Raven has anything to say about it.
You, Anna, and Professor Plaster have been at this for only a couple weeks. You took your time. And you actually managed to, with the three of your heads together and the compass, managed to actually pinpoint this one really fast. It was mostly just the sheer weight of getting everyone gathered that took a while. And the three of you are patiently waiting when, sure enough, at about midday, Paul, Flowerfall, Avaben, and Greylog step through the door and shut it behind them. Those of you who just...
and already caught.
Greylog looking around, you can see, in addition to the usual three studious researchers, you can see Blue Moon, the assassin, kind of lounging on the table. And the son of Quetzalcoatl kind of looking around interestedly and staring down at the notes that Anna and Asari have taken.
I'm gonna go to Quetzalcoatl.
Oh, and I wouldn't know what his true form looks like, right? Like his
The serpent? Yeah.
dragonish form?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. I'm putting that into memory.
I'm gonna try to see if you can take his form.
Later.
Yeah, his form.
Not yet.
All right, so you guys are gathered in a room with Asari, Professor Plaster, Anna, Kotogwal, and
I imagine Asari is wearing
Lemon.
her new outfit.
Yes, all of you
Awesome.
see Asari is sporting a somewhat revealing in the chest, but on the arms and legs, much more humble blue garment.
He's
Of
a reptile, right?
yes,
Yeah.
Like they wouldn't have much there, right?
oh yeah, and you also notice that that Asari is sporting a new tattoo, one of a Strix, which is an owl creature, with a eye in the center of its head. Tattoo that conveys wisdom. And Avaben, you can't help but think that Asari's only been in Pirate Town for like a few months and is already getting tattoos and looking for gold.
Also, what I thought Korgol wanted to go with us on our adventures because that was like the deal. He wanted to see places.
He does, but he only didn't come ashore with you guys last time because they didn't want to risk, a childish Celestial just exploring a scummy thief town where someone could easily steal the armor from him.
Oh yeah.
Anna smiles at all of you as the door shuts, and all right, now that everybody's here, sorry, Dr. Cux, why don't you tell them what we found?
This is amazing, you guys. So, get this. I'm sure everybody has seen the pirates everywhere. There's actually going to be a 6th Centennial Doomspell tournament that's coming up. And it happened. The prize is what our next key is. It's the Spear of Ares.
Is that sad?
Yeah, isn't that just fantastic? So, we need to find a way to get into the tournament or figure a way out to get board on somewhere without getting our throats.
Question. What kind of tournament is this?
DM?
It's pretty easy, actually. It's just fighting. The pirates have been running this every century since the dawn of the Third Age. That's why it's the 6th Centennial Doomspell Tournament. They basically just like watching people beat the crap out of each other, and it just so happens that we have a team of people who are very good at beating the crap out of other people. All you guys need to do is enter the tournament, win, and done and done. You have a key.
I have a feeling.
Okay.
I just want to say that
Do we have to be a pirate?
Hold that thought. What's up, Evan?
I just want to say, the second I heard pirates were gathering, I knew that wherever we were going to need to be was going to be where they were.
Well, I guess calling it a coincidence would be a little unfair, yeah? Although, to be fair, it's mostly they're just gathering here because the tournament's being held in Plundon. Ever heard of it?
No. You see, I lived in a forest that was isolated from the ocean.
Yeah, fair point. Well, see, whenever the Brethren of the Coast were first founded, they agreed that they needed a safe harbor, but the problem with land-based harbors is that they can be conquered or taken away. So they constructed Plundon, the greatest ship in the world. Supposedly, it combines the ingenuity of every single member of the Brethren of the Coast. It's one of the best ships to ever sail, and that's what the pirates are waiting for. It just so happens that they're passing by Tortage soon. So I'll admit it is a happy coincidence that it happens to be close by. And I will admit, I actually don't know what exactly has the pirates so spooked. I'm honestly starting to get worried that they know.
Yeah.
Well,
Well, with the
didn't
rumor.
this party have a pirate in it?
It did at one point, but we haven't seen him in months.
Oh, it's entirely
Didn't you guys
possible.
say he was dead?
No, never said he was dead.
Whatever happened to him, out of curiosity?
Like I said, he, from what, well, you two were there, and she gestures to Paul and Flower and Fall.
I mean, he was there and then he wasn't. Kind of deal. He disappeared one day.
He left of his own accord.
Oh,
And you didn't
maybe.
find that suspicious?
I mean,
Not really.
his business.
Bear in mind, this person was a mentally ill cannibal. I stopped trying to predict his behaviors after a while.
Sounds like a thoroughly unpleasant experience.
Deeply.
It may be possible that he's told the other pirates about this in some way.
Maybe, but if the pirates do know, then... Well, I mean, it didn't take the Boomergangers long to find me. Why haven't they just come knocking on our door and, you know, yo-ho, tell me where the keys be?
I don't know. You
At that moment, somebody
you'll
knocks on
probably
the
know
door.
more than I would.
I think it's because of all the pirates, obviously, right? I mean, you can't just get on the ship without being murdered.
Yes, yeah, that brings us to our next step. While getting the key is actually the easy part here, the problem is getting to it. Like I said, something's got the Brethren spooked, and whatever it is, they're not just going to let anyone on board Plundon. You'll either have to be pirates or have the permission of one.
Okay, so
I understand.
we have to be a pirate to get into the
Are we friends with
Sure.
him?
She kind of thinks for a moment before giving a bit of a shrug. Not that I can think of since the captain left. The mercenaries we hired aren't pirates, they're just sailors. And there are pirates in town, of course, but none that I'd call friends. What were you saying, Avaben?
Well, one of the pirates, I think, mentioned one of their big shots are here.
All of them are here.
Called Ares.
Yeah, all of the pirate lords are here.
Brother Ares. That's his title, anyway.
Do you know much about these pirates? It might be good to know about them if we're gonna try to try to join one of them temporarily.
I know the basics. The Brethren of the Coast, they founded Nassau. They also managed to establish Port Royal and Tortuga. And from what I know, they have a pretty violent line of succession. Usually, if you want the title of the current brother, you just kill the one that came previously. They only have this meeting every 100 years, so it's never the same people twice. Typically, the Doomspell tournament is just a time for pirates to come together and hang out and watch some fights, but apparently, whatever's got them so spooked, they're going to use this as an opportunity to discuss matters. And that does admittedly complicate our mission a little bit. We have to go on board a massive and well-defended vessel filled with paranoid, bloodthirsty killers who will happily kill us or throw us overboard, and that's assuming they have no idea what we're after, in which case they'll probably try to torture it out of you first.
Ooh, or we're after what that's the same thing that they're after.
How many ways are you willing to split whatever's behind that door? Assuming it even is treasure.
Well, that's the thing, though. They're after the spear, or his spear, right?
Well, the spear has a lot of qualities, just like the rest of the things that we have.
Exactly. They don't need to know anything else. We're just after the spear.
Well, that's not entirely true. Sorry, I was taking the time to do some research on the spear after we confirmed that it should be the next key. Well, Ares definitely wielded it, and as far as I can tell, it appears to be the genuine article. I actually can't find any record of it having any magical properties, outside of some very basic ones that any enchanter could bestow. But Ares,
Maybe it's just
from what
principle.
from the stories I've heard of Ares, he was never the type for tricks. Perhaps he just simply didn't feel the need. And a spear that can, I don't know, pierce through anything is still valuable, and regardless, as long as it fits in the keyhole. So, here's what I'm thinking for our plan of action. And she lays down a drawing, Flower and Fall, kind of looking curiously. You see a actually very well rendered art piece. Anna's drawings have clearly been getting better over the course of this quest. A rendition of a massive pirate ship. And even just the drawing of it conveys the sheer scale. Easily the size of a city. A network of sails and treadmills keeping it moving. And the waves roiling beneath it, almost dwarfed by the size of the vessel itself. And dragged along behind it is a fleet of other ships just being towed along. Putting a grassy finger on the drawing. The only way anyone gets in Plundon without the brethren of the court say so is through the permission of one of the other criminal guilds. In other words, you don't have to be pirates per se, you just have to be crooks.
I got you there.
Greylock, don't get me wrong, I am aware of your sticky fingers, but bear in mind, there's a difference between being a petty crook and a career one. Bear in mind, look at the people that inhabit Tortage. Pirates, slavers, mafiosos, thieves. These people make a lifestyle out of stealing things. We'll need to be like them, or get permission from them to get on board Plundon. Otherwise, somebody else is going to win that spear, and more than likely, if I had to guess, the Boomergangers will kill them to take it. You guys can make the plan. I'm just giving you the facts. We're going to need someone's permission to get on board Plundon without being keel-hauled. And unless we want to take our chances with a very paranoid bunch of pirate captains, I'd say our best bet is our allies in Tortage, or what little we have.
Well, from what I understand of thieves and the like, because there was a pretty significant thieves guild back home. The best place to start would probably be a place where someone can get drunk.
Sounds like a good a start as any. I'll stay here and keep doing research. This sort of thing is not exactly my speed. I'm a lot of things, but I'm not a thief.
Like you don't want something to make your coffee a little bit stronger in the morning?
I may have a problem with caffeine, of Haven, but I'm not looking to make my addictions worse. Thank you. And she does actually smile, and you guys stay safe out there. Tortage is a dangerous place to be at the best of times, but you're going to have to take your chances with the most dangerous people in town, or try and sneak aboard and pray to whatever gods you believe in you don't get spotted. I've heard what some of the pirates will do to people they capture.
I thought the way people became pirates is they signed a piece of paper on a ship.
That is true, but that's the problem. If they don't have your name listed, then you're not a pirate, and that makes you suspicious, an outsider. And whatever's got them spooked right now, they're not letting any outsiders in Plundon this year. It's pirates and thieves, and only pirates and thieves.
What is
if
it?
you sneak on board,
The fighters
we get caught.
amongst them.
The fighters are all mercenaries hired by the pirates. That means they trust them, or at the very least, they trust them to put on a good show.
Oh, maybe we should try to see if we can get hired as one of the fighters.
That's also an option, admittedly.
I'd say we have a pretty good track record of fighting. That might look good on a resume.
True. The pirates are going to be in town for at least another few days until Plundon arrives. It's going to be passing through this part of the sea in about, I'd say 2 days, maybe 3. By then, you better either have permission from one of the criminal guilds, earned the favor of one of the pirate brethren, or be willing to sneak on and take your chances.
got plenty of people here. Some of us can try to feel out all of our options.
I will try to win favor with one of the brothers.
It depends on your preference. From what I've read on the previous Doomspell tournaments, they try to incorporate fighting styles from around the world. So sometimes they'll ask you to fight alone, but if you prefer to work with a team, they don't stop you. But you're going up against the world's best, or at least the world's best that the pirates are willing to trust. So don't get cocky.
Is it mainly fists, or can I use?
Oh, no, they have healers and clerics from around the world. Nobody's ever died at one of these tournaments, at least not that I could find in my research. Even if someone dies, they just revive you. So you're not in danger if you can get aboard. The problem is just getting there. Like I said, once we can get on the ship, I honestly feel like this key should be a piece of cake.
Well then,
Yeah. All right.
I'll see
Got
about.
plenty.
No time to waste.
Anna kind of puts a hand out and just, go team?
I put my hand on top of hers. Go team.
Sure, why not?
Go unnamed.
It's
Go.
fine.
Like go unnamed team. Go.
Oh, thank you for reminding me, Paul, that actually... Oh, also, Flower Fall, I haven't been. Do you want in on this? And she kind of excitedly points to the little cluster of hands that are building up in the middle.
I'll just
Go.
body slam under our hands because we're so.
Avaben and the twins joining in, and Plaster, Blue Moon, and Kodagwal kind of confused but join in, and just go team. But yeah, that does remind me, Paul. You actually made me think of something. Thank you. It's not a requirement, but they do expect you to have some kind of team name once you sign up for the fights. So you guys may want to put some thought into that as well if you plan to compete for this thing legitimately.
Wait to make a team.
I got one.
Does this door
We
have a
need
name?
Key lectors.
How about no? We don't want.
What was that, Avaben?
Does this door have a name?
The Divine Doorway, or at least that's what it's called in Legends.
How many of us are there?
Not counting mercenaries and hired help, you guys act as our main squad of actually getting the keys. And since, with all respect to Flower and Fall, you are a twin mind, if we're talking mental thoughts alone, there's 5 of us.
The
Divine Five?
That's not bad.
It'll probably work to serve our function.
Yeah, feel free to workshop it. I just figured I should let you know. Good luck, guys. Go team. I'll stay here and keep researching, and I'll see if I can't pull some strings to maybe get into the audience of the fights, just in case you guys need my help once you're aboard.
Alright, I guess I'll see, look at the local drinking establishment. See if I can't meet somebody and maybe see if I can convince them to get us in.
Alright. Sorry, what are you going to do?
I have no idea. Where to start, to be honest with you. I'm with you. I'm not with you.
Greylock is heading to the dock.
Paul? Flower and Fall? How about you?
Well, I'm not really too sure. I mean, I guess I could ask around.
Yeah, you and Flower and Fall have plenty of friends in town. Honestly, we may be able to
Maybe I'll
persuade...
Talk to the Thieves Guild. The one here.
That's not a bad idea. Although, be warned, the Pirates and the Thieves Guild are kind of at each other's throats right now. I'm not saying they won't let you aboard Plundin. You just may get some funny looks from the pirates. So, just be careful.
You are the thieves and pirates
Right.
having. Aren't pirates just thieves on the water?
Yeah, apparently one of the thieves got into some personal trouble with Brother Ares, and Brother Ares is not known for his proportionate retributions, if you know what I mean.
Ares guy seems to be coming up a lot.
Well, that one I'll chalk up as purely coincidence. The port where we live happens to be under his jurisdiction. Not this port, I mean, back in, Sherwood, Britannia, Perugia. The Sea of Glass is controlled by Brother Ares, so just pure coincidence. Well, Flower and Fall, how
And
about you?
it's
Do you have any ideas?
Hmm. Maybe you could ask that doll.
Dolly?
Yeah.
You think she has those kind of connections?
Well, where do you think she gets all her stuff from?
I prefer not to think about it.
I'm with you there.
All right, so I think we're organizing something. Paul, you ask around and see if any of our local friends have the connections. Flower and Fall, you consult with Dolly. Avaben, you make your way to the tavern. The one where Paul and Flower and Fall used to stay is a good spot just to start, I think. I know at least a lot of the old sea salts like to hang out there. Greylog, you make your way to the docks and see if you can't earn the favor of one of the brethren. And sorry, if you want, the
I'm
Thieves Guild.
not really feeling the Thieves Guild. Maybe I'll just go with Gray.
All right, that's fine. And I'll stay here.
You may
And
not want to go with me
Why not?
because I'm going to earn a bunch of thieves and murderers' favor. That's not exactly your cup of tea.
Tough.
No, you can't. Not this tough.
I can. I'll do it. Fine. I'll do this.
Miss Blue Moon, Mr. Codawall, would you be willing to inform the crew of the Breaker of what's going on? I know they can't get us on board, but at the very least, I feel like they should know what's going on. I doubt they feel very secure right now, being surrounded by honest pirates. Codawall kind of gives a shrug, seeming a little indifferent, but Blue Moon kind of gives a bow and takes Codawall by the hand and starts just kind of almost skipping out.
Oh, by the way, do you still need the pistol?
We'll need it for whenever we check for the next key, but yeah, thank you for reminding me. And she unholsters it and kind of gives it like a playful twirl before holding it out to you. I understand you're something of a crack shot. I know this may be a bit outside of your area of expertise, Bowman, but it shoots straight.
Sure, it'll come in useful. Well, I understand it has quite an effect sometimes.
Well, in the meantime, I'll keep researching the spear. There's got to be something more interesting to it than what I'm finding. Good luck, everybody. I guess until we decide on a better name, Divine 5, go team! And she seems a little awkward, but does seem enthusiastic.
Go team!
And
Yeah.
is there a list of the brethren that I can get?
You can, but that is where we're going to end tonight's session and the interlude, as Trouble on the Tabletop officially begins next week.
Well, this is getting good.
Yeah, I knew about the whole Aries thing this whole time.
I know.
Yeah, I decided to give Asari more of a role by letting her essentially take over Anna's role as exposition parrot.
It was fun.
I'm glad. I can tell you're having fun with it. You did it very well, for the record. Good job.
Thank you.
Spear of Aries, we keep hearing about Brother Aries. Aries is coming up a lot lately.
Yeah.
Well, this
I
is
have
a
to wonder if it's the Aries in disguise.
If you want to see more of my DMing, check out twitch.tv/Gramecrackers, GRAMAE, sorry. CRAKZ. Okay, I'm just going to start over. GRAMECRACKERZ for my Friday campaign, The Gold Shine Investigations, starting at 7 o'clock Central Daylight Time, featuring a party of investigators trying to unravel the cultish conspiracy that threatens to plunge their homeland into war. Season 2 just ended last week, and we'll be picking up with Season 3 this week, which will be the final season of the show. So if you haven't started watching it already, I highly recommend it. The players are all super experienced and super talented, and I'm told I do a decent job DMing.
Maybe.
Check out our
Maybe.
website at officiald5hub.info. Resurrected from the grave like a filthy necromancer about to become a pirate and fight in a tournament. Check the link in chat to join our official D5 Discord server if you want to hang out with us directly and support our episodes posted on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Pandora, Google Podcasts, and the iHeart Podcast Network, wherever you happen to get them from. For our audio listeners, catch us live on Mondays at 9:30 Central Daylight Time on twitch.tv/Odd Tornado Productions, and on the Odd Tornado Productions YouTube channel to catch up on what you missed. Check out Odd Tornado Productions Official on Tumblr to find links to our other works, including our no longer freshly but still notably recomputered Paladins Twitch channel at twitch.tv/AustinFreak123. If you enjoy what we do, please support us on Patreon at the link that's about to be posted in chat, or on Ko-fi at kofi.com/oddtornadoproductions, and follow us on Twitter at twitter.com/tornadoodd. The TNO are capitalized, for the record. We are going to be absent this week from this campaign, but if you like this party and want to see more of them, tune in Tuesdays at 9:30 Central Daylight Time for our Tuesday game of Black Ink and Blue Blood, featuring a party of politicians and nobles trying to unravel the political conspiracy that threatens to plunge their home into war. The Dragons arc just ended with them taking down one of the members of their enemy and severely weakening the Argos Republic of Yav. The party has now started the new arc, Honor Among Thieves, where they will be returning to the bandit kingdom of Tabedra before making their way to the Aegis Federation to resolve a few personal arcs. And if you like my DMing and simply must experience it for yourself, I do have some slots open for my paid games. I run several private games for paying players where you can get everything you see on this stream, but with personal attention granted to you. It takes place in the same setting, all of the world building and lore. So if you like this world or my DMing and want to experience more of it for yourself, you can message me on Twitter or wherever, and I'll be more than happy to, as the kids say, hook you up. So, trouble on the tabletop has begun. The pirates have gathered, seemingly in fear, running away from something, and are meeting in the Great Flotilla of Plundon, where every 100 years since the dawn of the Third Age, the Doomspell Tournament is hosted, where they battle for the Spear of Ares, which is the key you seek next on your journey. But to get aboard that ship without being keel-hauled, you will need to earn the favor of a criminal, which there's no shortage of them in Tortage, but whose favor will you earn, and how will you feel about earning it after all is said and done? Let's find out next week. Thanks to you all at the table so much for playing. Thanks everyone at home so much for watching, and we'll see you all next week.